Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 7th episode of the 3rd season of the Worldwide Wednesday podcast.
I'm Sovereign.
I'm Shiny.
And give us a moment while we set up our mic.
Here we go.
Someone forgot to install it again.
Hey, at least I caught it instead of halfway through the episode. But yes, we're back. Sorry that we had to take last week off. I was sick, and I was sick. But also, there wasn't much to talk about.
Yeah, thankfully.
For once. So
because, unfortunately, Disney screwed us over on the She-Hulk scheduling.
Oh, yeah. So, instead of, them releasing on a Wednesday like normal, it's now releasing on Thursdays.
Yeah, which I would guess to just vary their release schedule a bit, because we do have Andor coming out soon.
Yeah, Andor comes out sometime next month, right?
Yeah, it comes out in late September.
Yeah, so I guess it makes sense. But overall, let's just jump into it.
Yeah, let's definitely get into it, because we got a lot to talk about. We got She-Hulk. Dragon Ball is going to be a big part of the episode today, for sure.
Yeah.
And then, of course, some announcements on the political side that could be interesting, and we've got some thoughts.
Yes. So let's start. She-Hulk episode 1. Going into this episode, I was kind of just like, well, yeah, another Marvel thing, another thing on Disney Plus.
Another origin story at that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, okay, let's get this over with. And I mean, to be honest, after seeing I Am Groot, I was kind of like, yeah.
This episode does what it serves to do, as introducing this character, introducing the gimmick of the fourth wall breaks. Pretty much everything that we would expect, we got. So let's start it out. They don't overly use the fourth wall breaks. That is a relief, because you can only watch Deadpool so many times.
Yeah. Oh God, I cannot. I'm not looking forward to Deadpool's fourth wall breaks with an MCU flair. I'm sorry, I'm traumatized after Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah, that is true.
I'm traumatized after Thor: Love and Thunder. MCU comedy. I mean, She-Hulk was a return to form in terms of good MCU comedy. I will say that.
Yeah.
But I still have PTSD from Thor: Love and Thunder, because that shit fucking ruined so much of my hype and expectations for good MCU comedy.
Yeah, I do get that, because the best MCU content we got over the past half year was Moon Knight, which had zero comedy to it.
Okay, now that's a lie. It had good comedy. Stephen Grant was a comedic genius.
But it wasn't MCU humor, though.
Yeah.
It was less quips and more unexpected character interactions that really drove that.
Yeah. Also, Miss Marvel had good humor as well.
It was more closely associated with the Marvel quips that we get here and there, but it was less than what we got in Thor: Love and Thunder, for sure.
But this episode actually had pretty good comedy. I really do like the fact that, She-Hulk is funny, because really my main expectations going into this is the fact that She-Hulk needs to be the following. She needs to be strong, she needs to be funny, she needs to break the fourth wall, and she needs to be a sexy feminist icon. If she's not those things, then you failed at a She-Hulk adaptation. And right now, seems like we got those.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So pretty much we can just summarize this episode as okay, this is the training arc. This is pretty much introducing us to the character, and I think we got that. So one thing I do want to touch on is they changed the origin up a bit, but not noticeably.
Yeah.
in the comics, she got a blood transplant, right?
Yeah, so in the comics, she just like in the just like in the show, she's a lawyer, but in the comics, it was the fact that there was a crime boss that was put away. I don't believe it was by her, but I do believe it was by her, like her boss.
Maybe her firm or something.
Yeah, and so as revenge, his subordinates came and, shot up the place. And Bruce was visiting her, as, cousins will visit each other, and she was shot. And so Bruce sprung into action and he gave her a blood transfusion. And that blood transfusion turned her into She-Hulk.
Yeah, so then instead of, like, doing that route, they just said, oh, let's just put a Sicarian ship in front of them and they'll crash. Which I don't mind.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bit jarring considering the scope of the show as a whole.
Mm-hmm. But, okay, so, since you brought it up, Hulk is a dad. I am convinced that ship is there to be like, yo, you got kids.
That's right, because in the comics,
Yes,
after
he has
Planet
2 sons.
Hulk,
No, not after. During.
Or it'll be after the MCU equivalent of Planet Hulk.
Yeah. So I believe his children... One is named Scar, as in Skaar. And then, let me see what the other one's name is. Scar is more like him, in the sense that he's like the big, bulky green one. But the second one has like a very strong body, but he has like... They both use something called the Old Power, which is basically this magical life force type thing that's on Sakaar. So, yeah. So you have Scar, and then you also have his brother, Hirokala. And they're both monstrously powerful. Like, Scar looks green, but Hirokala looks human, except he has silver eyes, he's bald, and he's also jacked as shit. I hope that they bring both. Because Scar is obviously the most popular of the two because Hirokala died. But I hope both of them show up.
Yeah. Which, it could be interesting. Because right now we are in that phase of, well, really all of Phase 4 is really just setting up a bunch of other heroes at this point. Which,
yeah, the Young Avengers, the Thunderbolts.
To lesser or greater extents.
Yeah.
But, yeah, when you said Hulk being a dad, it took me some time to process it because, let's face it, ever since Endgame, he's had, like, dad energy.
Yeah. So
like the dad that's trying to be cool with the kids.
Yeah. So in the comics, basically what happened was Hulk was on Sakaar. So how it worked is the Illuminati was like, the Hulk is very dangerous. And what if he goes off again? So they were like, let's shoot him to an isolated planet so he can be all by himself. Because back during that time, that's what the Hulk wanted. The Hulk wanted to be alone. And so they did, but they miscalculated, and they sent him to a highly populated gladiator world named Sakaar. Hulk became a gladiator, but then, after seeing the injustices happening on Sakaar, became a based revolutionary king and led a revolution across the planet where they usurped the previous despotic rulers, and Hulk was basically named king. And the revolutionary that he worked alongside became his wife. They had kids, and everything was fine until the ship that Hulk came on blew up. And at the time he thought killed his wife and unborn child, as well as many people in the capital. And Hulk was pissed. He thought that the Illuminati had sent him there to die. And so that's what leads to World War Hulk. The reality is, it's revealed at the end of World War Hulk, that Meek, yes, Meek, actually set the ship to explode so that they could now conquer, using the revenge scheme to be the first in many steps to conquering the universe. Yeah, no, in the comics, Meek is fucking evil. Also, Korg was part of that Warbound that came to Earth and fucked shit up.
Ah.
Yeah, in the comics, Korg and Meek are Hulk side characters. They're not Thor side characters.
And I'm guessing a lot less comedic than they are in the MCU.
No, Meek is fucking evil. He blew up civilians as a bid to try to manipulate Hulk into, domination. And Korg, well, he's just, a brute.
Yeah.
He's just, really fucking strong. And help, lay waste to the planet.
Yeah, yeah. So, unfortunately, because of the nature of this episode, there's not really much to analyze, but we can just go into, how everything is handled. We've pretty much, said, yeah, the fourth wall breaks are good. They aren't too overbearing.
Yeah.
Because they only happen, 3 times in the entirety of the show.
Yeah, when she introduces her flashback, which
Yeah.
I thought was probably the best way to handle a flashback for this series, is her just straight up saying, so yeah, let me explain what's going on here, which I thought was really good.
Yeah.
Then there's the he doesn't mean that, which we all saw in the trailer. What was the third one?
The third one was back when the flashback was over.
Oh yeah, when she's just like, great, now enjoy my quirky lawyer show.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but so remember back when all the trailers came out and people were railing on the CGI. There was only one moment that I noticed that the CGI was awful.
Which one for you?
For me, it was her doing the repeated clapping.
Yeah.
That CGI was horrendous.
But outside of that, it was actually pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good because the facial work is done really well when she's in her She-Hulk form.
Yeah,
the problem was that clapping scene. Oh my god, it looked... Oh god, it reminded me of how bad the CGI was at the end of the live-action Aladdin film, honestly.
Yeah, but at the same time, we can't blame the VFX artists too much. They're locked in a basement somewhere under Disney World.
Yeah, don't go after the VFX artists, please. Go after Kevin Feige. He
go after Marvel for not getting their shit in on time and not finishing the creative process within a timely manner, and go after the heads of these VFX houses that force the crunch time to begin with.
Yeah, because again, I was pleasantly surprised that the CGI wasn't that bad. There was only one moment where I could be like, okay, no, this is not enjoyable to look at.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? How do you feel about She-Hulk, picking up being the Hulk better than Bruce?
The issue, that has actually sparked a lot of outrage because oh god,
MCU.
Not even that. Even the power scalers are railing on it.
Which, to be honest, I don't understand why. Because the first episode firmly establishes if the Hulk actually wanted to, he would kill her.
Yeah, and because people bring up the truck scene, which I'm like, one, he wouldn't kill his cousin.
Yeah. Here's the thing, and once again, this points back to the comics. The Hulk is very strong, and She-Hulk is also extremely strong. But if push came to shove, the Hulk would rip her apart. It's the same going for Red Hulk and Red She-Hulk. They're all strong like the Hulk is.
Yeah.
But none are as strong as the Hulk can be.
Yeah, because, again, people are, just not paying attention to details when it comes to the power scaling in the show.
Yeah.
Literally, Hulk throws a rock into orbit and it burns up.
Yeah, because here's the thing. The Hulk is just trying to, what's the right term? He's just trying to balance himself. He's holding himself back as much as he can. Meanwhile, She-Hulk doesn't need to do that. So she's just basically, think of it like this. The Hulk is someone that is holding himself back. She-Hulk is at full power all the time.
Yeah.
So what you see is her peak versus him suppressed. But when he's not suppressed, he massively will outshine her peak.
Because, other like comparisons you could make between their powers, literally the clapping scene. Literally one, and She-Hulk's like temporarily disarmed for a bit. Cool. What can She-Hulk do? She has to do it repeatedly to do even damage to Hulk's ears, and that's it.
Yeah,
like
because
it's no physical damage.
Yeah, well, it's the same type of damage that the sonic weapons from the original Hulk film do. Which, if you remember that, they hurt him. But do you also remember what happened after they hurt him? He fucking destroyed them. And that was a much weaker version of the Hulk than we have today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no. Jennifer, she's very strong, but if Bruce tries, she's paced.
Yeah.
Which is how it works in the comics. In the comics, she's stupidly strong, but if Bruce actually tried, she would be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's constantly running at 100 because she can control herself going at 100. He's currently at like a 40.
Yeah.
Because that's as much as he can handle without fucking destroying everything.
And also, literally, the show establishes the fact that, oh yeah, he's gone under a lot of training to keep his emotions down. Literally the premise of the entire training arc.
Exactly. Like, everything he was training to do was to make sure that she doesn't get, like, easily pissed off. Which I feel we are going to see her getting easily pissed off, but not in the same way that Bruce can get easily pissed off.
Because here's the other problem that people don't address, is that, like Mark Spector, Bruce had DID.
Yeah, so this isn't fully shown off in the MCU, probably because Disney doesn't want to play with Universal to give up the distribution rights for Hulk, so they don't make Hulk films.
But thankfully, this show steps in and actually explains, like, oh, the Hulk was an alter.
Yeah, it's not explicit, but if you're a fan of the comics, in the comics, it's pretty well known.
I mean, I would say it's pretty explicit.
He
literally says, oh, you don't have an alter.
Yeah.
Which pretty much is the implication that, oh, he treats the Hulk as an alter. He treats it as an alternate self.
Yeah, true, but what I mean is more that where it comes from. In the sense that, in the comics, like Mark Spector, Bruce was abused growing up. Bruce was abused by his father, which led to him having anger issues. And so when the gamma bomb went off, and he was, hit by the gamma radiation, two things happened. One, the entity known as the one below all, which is supposed to be the one diametrically opposed to the one above all, he was able to seat his influence. He's able to really use his influence through gamma radiation and gamma mutates like the Hulk and the Leader. So he was able to push his influence into Bruce, which is why the Hulk is such a massive force of destruction, because the one below all is just wants nothing but destruction. But the mindset that the Hulk personifies is now his alter. The trauma that he has endured as a child and the anger that manifested from said trauma personified itself within the Hulk entity that was formed by the one below all.
Yeah.
In a way, Bruce's DID saved him from becoming possessed by the one below all, as the formation of the Hulk alter made it so that the one below all couldn't take over either form, the human form or the gamma mutate form. And so this series has not shown yet that Bruce has been abused. But there are some dialogue clues that hint that he feels distant from the family. For example, saying, I talked to your parents, not I talked to aunt and uncle.
Yeah.
Or, things like that are very,
Yeah.
It shows that he has a detachment to the Banner Walter family, but nothing too concrete. But if he's anything like his comic version, the reason why the Hulk is so paranoid is he has DID himself, and the Hulk is an alter, a very dangerous alter. You thought Jake Lockley was dangerous? Well, no. The Hulk is the most dangerous alter in the fucking multiverse.
Yeah. Which I also want to get on another part that people are complaining about is that Jennifer is able to handle like hulking out much easier. One, we discussed the DID that pretty much settles the fact that yeah, she didn't have to deal with this, so it's much easier for her. But it establishes that what she's going through is actually subtly different because. Yeah. I mean, in the blood work that Bruce does, he's like, oh, your mutation is different than mine.
Yeah, her mutation heals him, which, for one, shows that her Hulk form is going to be different, because in the comics, I have to keep bringing up, all the Hulk forms are different. She-Hulk is different from Hulk, Red Hulk is different from both of them, and Red She-Hulk is different from all three of them.
Yeah.
And then obviously Scar and Hiro Kala are different from them. Like, all the Hulks are very different. But her Hulk form is different, like Sovereign brought up, in the sense that her blood can heal him. But I also feel it's different in the sense because she obviously says, like, I'm better at controlling my anger because, you know, I can get fucking murdered. I can do all this. Like, I have to deal with all the things.
I feel like that shouldn't even be a factor. Like, I feel like everything else I've explained just immediately writes off why she's able to handle it so easily.
Yeah, but I feel this was important as well, just because She-Hulk is, in the comics, traditionally a feminist icon. And, you know, she needs to live up to that, in my opinion, in the adaptation as well. And so her bringing up the fact that even without all of the special nature, even without all of the specialities that come with her being a Hulk, she's had to control her emotions because she's a woman that is a lawyer. And let me tell you, being a woman in professional environments is hell if you've done any type of research into what sexism in in higher career paths are like. It's hell. But not only that, lawyers have to be cutthroat as hell. So being a woman that is a lawyer at a high level, she has had to deal with a lot of shit. I can only imagine. And also, she lives in LA.
Yeah.
God, I cannot imagine being a woman in LA. Between the catcalling and the over-sexualization because Hollywood's right there, and all the other shit that could probably come with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel it made sense that for her to bring it up.
Oh, yeah, no, it was valid to bring it up.
Yeah.
But I feel like everything we've described, we can pretty much eliminate that whole debate of like, her handling the anger easier than Hulk makes no sense, because literally we get many explanations as to why it's easier for her.
Yeah, but this was just the icing on the cake, ties back into her feminist roots.
Exactly.
So, yeah, and to be honest, this isn't even the first time. I mean, if you think back to Captain Marvel, she was also held back in a similar way. She had to control her emotions because, you know, she's a woman. Yeah. Like, notice how Minerva, who was Gemma Chan's character in Captain Marvel, while she didn't have to go through it, that seems because the only time we ever get to see her be...
Was that her?
Yeah.
Did she play 2 roles in the MCU?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, she was Minerva in Captain Marvel, and she's Cersei in The Eternals.
I guess I gotta rewatch that movie, and that's not a movie I like to rewatch too much.
But if you remember in that movie, Minerva was, you know, more on the quiet side until it's her versus Carol 1v1, where she's just totally fucking sadistic. But even that's an example in the fact that you didn't even get to see that one of the real psychopath of the group is a psychopath because she's a woman, and like Carol was constantly silenced in favor of Jan Rog.
Yeah. And it's a shame that movie really didn't have that great character writing, honestly.
Yeah, because like, there were the bones of some really good character writing with those characters.
Yeah, because unfortunately that movie, like when it came to Carol alone, like they didn't decide if they wanted her to be like naive and snarky, or like, what was the other? It's been a while since I've watched that movie.
Like, hyper competent.
Yeah.
Because she really does flip-flop between being naive and hyper-competent. And in my opinion, I really feel they should have just went with, like, she is hyper-competent, but she's just naive in social interactions. Like, it should have been that she is ruthlessly efficient at doing her job, because, she should be. Prior to becoming part of the Kree Star Force, she was in the Air Force. She should be ruthlessly efficient at things that she does. But she should have been at least naive in social situations due to the fact that she lost a lot of her socialization because of her amnesia, but she also but she's now in an alien empire.
Yeah. But already we're seeing pretty good character writing from She-Hulk already.
Yeah. Also, did you catch the fact that in the case where Titania breaks through and She-Hulk has to fight her, she's actually representing against the law firm that will come to hire her in future episodes.
Huh.
The lawyer that she's up against is Holloway. Holloway is the lawyer that will come to hire her in the coming episodes to head up his superhero law division thing.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the one where she's like, I have a conflict of interest. This man tried to kill my cousin Bruce, and he's like, yeah, that's fine. She's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So we have, like, really, you can't really establish much off of this because we don't really, because, like, the whole aspect of the show is going to be like, oh, this is her balancing her life as a Hulk and a lawyer, and we've only got introduced to one of those aspects and only got like 2 minutes of the other.
I think we're gonna see
it from this next episode moving forward.
Yeah, I kind of thought we were gonna see that first trial, that it was gonna be She-Hulk versus Matt Murdock. I legitimately thought this was gonna be the trial of Happy Hogan. Because remember, he's currently under investigation by Damage Control.
That is true.
So I feel like we're definitely going to see the two of them go at it in the courtroom. And so I kind of do have a sneaking suspicion that we may see Happy briefly in the show. Because,
well,
in a show dedicated to superheroes in trouble with the law, he's currently the top of the list.
Yeah, because somehow Peter Parker made it out of that. I don't know how.
Something to do with Spider-Man.
Yeah. Something tells me this has something to do with Spider-Man.
Oh.
For those who haven't watched Morbius, that reference makes no sense.
Yeah. But I'm really excited. I feel like we're going to circle back later on into the plot as to why Titania broke into the,
Because really, random villain walks into the courtroom and forces She-Hulk to establish herself as a hero to society. So it's like, it's kind of random, but we're probably going to circle back to it.
Circle back to it. If anything, it's most likely that character either has ties to Latveria, because in the comics, Titania gets her powers during the original Secret Wars from Doctor Doom, and so while Secret Wars isn't going to happen for years now, she may be someone that got her powers from Doctor Doom while in Latveria, so maybe it's that, or it's organized crime, and she's supposed to either rescue or silence. Who knows?
Yeah.
Either way, I'm interested. I can't wait to see Wong, can't wait to see Daredevil, can't wait to see Frogman. And I actually just can't wait to see more of She-Hulk do She-Hulk things.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this isn't like a standout episode or anything. It establishes what it sought out to do. But at the end of the day, the show will probably get more interesting from this point out. So the highest I can give it is a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd give it a 6 out of 10. I liked it, though. Oh, wait. Sorry, I have to elevate it to 6.5 just because of the end credits scene, which finally confirms something that Marcus and McFeely, the writers for Endgame and Infinity War, confirmed back during Endgame, which is the fact that Captain America has not been a virgin for a long time. He lost his virginity to one of the dancers back when he was on the USO tour, which, makes sense. He's literally a Greek god of a man surrounded by beautiful women. Of course they're going to try and sleep with him. And I mean, we know for a fact that women have tried. Remember what happened after he rescued the 108th? There was that woman.
Yep.
And then Peggy tried to kill him for it.
Peggy literally shot at him.
Yeah.
Because of it.
Exactly. So yeah. To quote She-Hulk, Captain America fucks! Which I believe this is actually the second time we've seen this reference. Wasn't the first one in Miss Marvel?
Was it?
I believe Miss Marvel also had Is Captain America a Virgin as well, when we were introduced to her Sloth Baby productions.
I feel like I vaguely remember it, but I don't think it was that specific topic. I know it references that character, but I don't know if that's...
There's the Moon one. There's someone else in the MCU that has made reference to whether Captain America is a virgin or not.
Because, like, we know the moon theory and all.
Yeah. I know someone else made the reference, but I don't know who.
You'd have to...
But it was one of the newer characters because, let's be honest here, all the Avengers know Cap's not a virgin. Let's be honest here. All the Avengers know. Like, Black Widow, she probably knows. Hawkeye probably knows. Bruce, Tony, Vision, Wanda, Sam, Bucky. They probably all know that, like, he's not a virgin. You telling me any of those groups wouldn't?
Actually, like, looking at him, probably.
All of those groups, everyone in that group probably knows he's not a virgin.
Like, are you saying it as in they asked, or just looking at him is like, yeah?
No, like, you know how they had that scene in Age of Ultron where they're all just drinking and just doing dumb shit?
Yeah.
I feel it was in one of those sessions. Sorry, I also meant to include Thor and Rhodey because they also probably definitely know.
Yeah.
Like, that group of people, and then plus remember the fact that Wanda was part of his Avengers team for a couple years, and then they went on the run together.
Yeah.
So, of course, she would probably find out. And then Vision, let's be honest here, he probably heard it and was like, humans are fucking weird.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but I see what you're getting at.
I think, like, they all know, because they were friends with him.
Yeah.
And let's be honest here, knowing all of those characters, most of them would ask.
I feel like it's weird to bring up, because, I mean, like, they're adults, so, yeah.
But they would.
I guess.
Tony would ask. Thor has the highest body count. Hawkeye probably has, like, a modest amount. Tony has, like, this... Actually, I think...
Are you including comics lore into this?
No.
Into your perspective?
No. I think...
Look, I'm just saying, this is just a very weird thing to, like...
I think...
to, like, mentally obsess about.
Here's
sorry.
what I think it is. Thor has the... No, I think it's this. Thor, going into it, you think has the highest body count, but it's Tony. Next up, you have Hawkeye. Hawkeye, he hasn't had sex with many people, but it's a decent amount. Black Widow has a surprisingly low body count compared to what people originally think. Bruce is not a virgin, which is a surprise to everyone. Cap is not a virgin, which is a surprise to everyone. Rhodey, he's probably had sex before. Sam, probably had sex before. Bucky, probably had sex before. Wanda, probably a virgin. Vision, definitely a virgin. And
I'm just saying,
yeah.
you're putting a lot of mental stakes into this.
I think that's how it all works based off of their characters. I think Tony had the highest body count, and Thor low-key feels some type of way, kind of just like...
Okay, so this is just you making a headcanon then.
I think that's how it
this
works.
is you going all full headcanon.
I think that's how it works.
Anyway, let's move on because we got a lot of Dragon Ball to get into. What do you want to touch into first? You know what? Let's get the quicker one out of the way first. Let's talk about the chapter.
Yes. So Dragon Ball Super chapter 87.
Either way, the end of the Granola saga.
Yes, the Granola the Survivor arc has finally ended.
And so, which is great, because remember how I said, like, there was an air of finality to the last chapter, even though it was not warranted at all?
Mm-hmm.
Well, here we go. We're into this chapter, and it brings some changes and some surprises that were pleasant, unexpected, and ultimately, like I said, this will be the roundup to this arc, and we'll be moving on to the next arc. But before we spoil the details on that, let's go ahead and get into the details of this chapter.
So first of all, zombie gas, best gas.
Which also confirms my theory that I've been speculating on for the past 2 months. Remember how I've been saying, oh, the wish that was made for gas by Alec was like, oh, his power, it's like similar to how Granola's wish was made, but at the expense of his life force, the more power he uses, the more time he uses up. That was solidified in this chapter, and I am happy that theory was made correct.
Yep, it was definitely made correct. But the interesting aspect was that Gas didn't notice he was aging and dying.
Yeah, or he wasn't even told, too.
Well, I figured he wasn't told, but it's interesting because when he first powered up into his old man form, he mentioned that he felt his cells burning away and it was near euphoric. But I guess I imagined he thought like he knew he was like aging, but it felt good. This chapter establishes that while he felt euphoric, he wasn't fully aware that he was actually burning away his life.
Yeah, like literally his life force was getting drained. Like, Goku's fought old men before. He's fought King Piccolo. He's fought Old Man Moro.
He's fought Master Roshi. I mean,
but
technically Frieza's old as shit too.
True.
Majin Buu is also old as shit.
But not like literally the flesh on their limbs are like diminishing.
Yeah.
Like with King Piccolo, for example. Like when he wished to be young, he had an instant glow up.
Oh yeah.
Like literally his arms tripled in size.
I'm pretty sure he just tripled in size in everywhere. Like he went from like marginally taller than Goku to like Goku comes up to his fucking shins.
Yeah. Whereas with Gas, his flesh is literally rotting off of his face.
Yeah, it's really grotesque, and I know it's going to be censored to all hell when this gets animated.
Oh, that's a shame, yeah.
But it's really grotesque, and I really do like it. It really shows. Like, Vegeta says that this isn't a benefit, this is a curse. He's cursed to be the strongest in the universe. And his appearance really sells that idea.
Yeah.
That he's cursed.
And this isn't even, like, the most grotesque stuff we've got... Or, no. This is probably borderline, like, close to the most grotesque stuff we've gotten in Dragon Ball. Because in the manga, in the Cell arc, literally the Cell Juniors, when they were chopped in half, literally their organs flew everywhere.
Yeah, it was the Cybermen, their organs flew everywhere. The Cell Juniors had their organs fly everywhere. In the Moro arc, we had when Moro regenerated his arm into Goku's chest and nearly just fucking, like... I mean, if he just chose the opposite part of Goku's body, he would have tore through his heart.
Yeah.
I still say that's probably one of the most brutal moments in all of Dragon Ball. Moro regenerating his fist into Goku's chest.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely up there. And we see that even though he's, like, practically just, like, dying, like, he's still fucking strong. He was fucking throwing them all over the place.
I mean... I think so. No, he made feet constructs. That was it.
Yeah, he made feet constructs. His arm got fucking broken, but because he's so fucking powerful, it doesn't even matter. He can just fucking slap you with his broken, like, falling off the bone arm.
Yeah, which ultimately brings him to his death because of the fact that all of his life energy is used up.
Yep. But before we get to that part, I just want to say, this is the closest we'll ever get to true zombie horror in Dragon Ball.
That is true, yeah.
Because, like, that is... I can only imagine how they felt fighting him. Like, knowing that, like, he should be dead. Like, he should not be able to function as a fighter. Because they've encountered people who have powered up so much that their bodies have deteriorated, but then they die from it. I mean, the best example we have is Saganbo. Goku fought Saganbo, and Saganbo literally had an aneurysm due to how powerful he became and died for it.
Yeah.
But this is something entirely different. He not only has gotten even more stronger, but, like, any damage you do physically to him does nothing.
Yeah.
But then, of course...
Enter Frieza.
So, we did have a question a while back when Alex said, I need to go make some calls. And we kind of, like, dismissed what it was, but we knew Frieza had to somewhat be involved in this arc. Now we know what it is. And I will say, to his credit, Elek's plan would have worked. Elec had the smartest plan possibly out there. He found out Granola was strong, so then he put a plan into action. He used 7-3 to find Zuno. He used Zuno to find out about the Dragon Balls. He used the Dragon Balls to make Gas the strongest. He had lured Goku and Vegeta into fighting Granola, so either Granola dies, Goku dies, or Vegeta dies, but either way, one of the three most powerful people are taken off the board. Gas is now the strongest. He can kill the remaining two, and then Frieza would be caught off guard because Frieza would then be the next strongest threat afterwards, and Gas would murder him. But everything would have worked according to plan.
But there was one problem.
When the wish was made for both Granola and Gas... Actually, no. When the wish was made for Gas to be the strongest in the universe, Frieza was away. I believe Frieza was weaker than Granola at the start of the arc, and here's why. Frieza says that he trained for 10 years in the hyperbolic time chamber.
Yeah.
And it's about 10 days. The Granola arc takes place across 2 months, because Granola starts strong at the beginning, but it takes a little while for Goku and Vegeta to reach planet Cereal. It takes double-digit days, I'm pretty sure.
Ah, man, that's so early in the saga that I don't remember.
I think it takes double-digit days. So it's actually that Frieza didn't become the strongest until after Granola was the strongest. So if you really want to get technical, and this makes it all the more shitty for Granola, if Granola had hunted Frieza from the very beginning of the arc, he would have killed him. But he didn't. And thus we come to the fact that Frieza is actually the strongest in the universe. And he shows off that he is very quickly. You want to explain?
So, with the wish, there was one exception, which we have described, being the fact that he was not in the universe, and so Frieza's power was never taken into account. And so he descends onto the battlefield and reveals Black Frieza, which I know it's a color change because like it looks aesthetically similar to Golden Frieza.
It's 18 days. 18 days after Granola after Granola shows how strong he is, and they send Oil and Maki to Earth, it takes them 18 days to reach planet Cereal. So meaning that if Granola had left during the 8-day time period where the Heaters and Goku and Vegeta don't arrive on Cereal, and Frieza's still somewhere in space, and he found him, he would have succeeded. But he waited too long.
Yeah.
Because then, after the 8th day, Frieza enters the hyperbolic time chamber, and then, on the 10th day, everything happens, but Frieza steps out after the wish had already been completed.
Yeah, and I do like the new form.
I do like it. I think it's really good.
The problem is that because of the limitations of manga, we don't know what the subcolor is. Some people have drawn
it's white.
Some people have drawn it with white. Someone had drawn it with a pastel purple.
I think it's white.
Either way, when we get the official coloring, they both look really good. So whatever they decide to finish up with, I think they'll both look really good.
Yeah, I mean, the digitally colored manga isn't that far off. As it stands right now, the digitally colored manga is all the way up to when Gas transforms into his uncontrollable, like, rage state.
Okay.
So it's gonna catch up pretty soon.
Because a lot of fan renderings, like I said, some have opted for the pastel purple for the lighter color. Yeah. Which, I mean, I don't mind. I think I would like white more because it's more like akin to how...
Yeah, I think it's gonna be...
It's more akin to his final form, so it looks a little more. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind a distinction from the final form.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be black on white with purple gems.
Yeah,
but with the purple being more like his final form purple than Golden Frieza purple.
Yeah, yeah. Either way, I mean, we're used to simple color changes in Dragon Ball before, but honestly, it looks really good.
It looks really good, and Frieza comes in style. So basically, Frieza shows up, and everyone is just like...
He does the superhero landing, looks over, and just everyone is shocked that he's here.
Somewhere, somehow, Yelena Belova is like, such a poser. Somewhere, she's thinking, what a poser. Doesn't know who, doesn't know how, but she's like, someone's posing somewhere. So Frieza comes in with his pose, and so everyone's like, what is he doing here? And Alec starts shitting bricks, realizing, oh fuck, I called him. And so Gas is like, I'm gonna kill you. And so Frieza's like, oh, okay. And then kills him in probably one of the most brutal on-screen deaths we've gotten in the franchise.
So literally, he rushes over, punches him, which literally turns him into a corpse.
He literally turns him into a skeleton and then crushes his skull into dust. And Gas is dead.
Yeah.
And he does it in one hit from his Black Frieza form, to which everyone's like, oh no. And then Frieza drops the bombshell that Alec has actually been the weakest one of them all, which I kind of figured he had to have been, since he was the only one that didn't fight, and also was the only one that seemed to resort to using a gun, while Oil, Maki, and Gas all seemed to use ki. He seemed to use guns, so it makes sense. So he was the weakest, and basically it's revealed that Alec had truly called Frieza over there because he was intending to kill Frieza off with Gas. But it didn't work, and so Frieza then murders Alec. And then he turns to Oil and Maki, and he's like, I need people to work in my kitchen. And they're like, yes, we'll work in your kitchen. And then he noticed, he's like, oh, Goku, Vegeta, you two are here. I didn't even notice.
And then just punches them as well.
So, also, during this time, Monaito fully realizes his healing powers.
No, fully realizes that he was worthless this whole time, and decides now is the perfect moment to become useful, and then dies.
Yep, so he heals Goku, Vegeta, and Granola to full strength. Gas then basically kills him. And then Frieza shows up, does his thing. Then Goku and Vegeta, who are now at full power, get one shot by Black Frieza.
And mind you, if you've watched us in the past, we have railed on Monaito for being the most worthless healer we have ever seen in Dragon Ball. And then for him to suddenly get a glow up and then die.
And the glow up to amount to nothing, because even if Goku and Vegeta got to full power, it meant nothing.
Yeah.
Frieza still one-shots them, beats them in both Ultra Ego and True Ultra Instinct. Done. But he says, I'm not here to fight you guys. I was here on official business, so you guys get to live. But next time I see you, I'll kill you.
Yeah.
To which they were probably thinking, oh, thank God he's leaving us alone.
Yeah, just a brief break to say hi to chat. We see you.
Hello, user Mac the Bat. Welcome to chat.
All right, but continuing, just the full acknowledgement that, oh, you guys aren't anything to deal with right now. I'm just gonna throw you to the side like the side platter that you are, and I'm gonna enjoy my real feast, which I'm sure we'll find out what it is later.
Yes. I really liked it.
I actually did like it because, like as I'm sure you've noticed, my disdain for this arc has been growing. Mostly because, this didn't feel like a full arc, and that's kind of what I want to get into here.
Yeah.
So we talked about this off stream, and I feel like the Granola the Survivor arc can be comparable to how the Android Saga serves its purpose to the Cell Saga. So pretty much, this is like a little side arc to the bigger one, because let's just face it, this is probably the next arc coming is probably like the big one. It's going to be Goku and Vegeta versus Frieza for the fourth time.
Yeah.
What is it? The fourth time at this point?
I believe it will be the fourth time.
Because we've had Namek,
Resurrection F. We now have this, and the next time will be the fourth time.
Yeah.
And actually, I kind of think that this is actually the second arc in a longer 3-part epic with an interlude known as the Galactic Patrol Prisoner arc. Broly sets up the fact that Frieza, he's trying to kill them. He is looking for strong subordinates so he can try and kill them. And yeah. And so that fails. To no fault of his own, he had no idea that Broly would be uncontrollable. So then, you see that he's still continuing trying to find a way to kill Goku and Vegeta through a bonus chapter during the Galactic Patrol Prisoner arc, where he's informed that Moro freed all the prisoners, but Frieza says, I don't want to recruit them. I'm an upstanding businessman. We do not delve with the criminal rabble. To which Barry Blue is like, aren't you wanted by the Galactic Patrol? And he's just like, shut up! I am not a criminal! And then we get this arc where we're firmly thrust back with the idea that Frieza is a threat. Vegeta is paranoid that Frieza's gonna come back and try and kill them. Goku's like, oh, pshaw, that'll never happen. And then the end of the arc comes by and Frieza murks them, and they're like, oh.
Yeah.
So I actually think this is a part of a 3-part arc, with the Galactic Patrol Prisoner arc being like the calm before the storm, which is this, where like everything's being shaken up, and at the end of it, Frieza is the one that came out on top.
Yeah. Which
excuse me.
Because remember, like I said, like when we were discussing the last chapter, like I felt an air of finality to the arc as a whole, but like we didn't get much plot development from it, so I was ended up feeling a little disappointed, only to find out with this chapter that this is literally the prelude to an even bigger saga that we'll get coming up. So it's like, okay, I'm starting to change my opinions a little bit, not a lot, but just a little bit, just slightly.
I think, honestly and wholeheartedly, that when we go back and... Because I like to reread...
Because now when we reread this arc, we can't even wait until we get the volumes anymore. We have to wait until the next arc is finished to properly assess it now.
But I think once you reread this entire saga, where you rewatch the Broly movie, you go through the Galactic Patrol Prisoner arc, you go through the Granola arc, and you go into the Frieza arc, you're going to see one coherent story. Yeah. And mind you, officially this group of sagas and arc is called the Universe 7 group, because it's dealing with the power dynamics of Universe 7. And I think it's going to end pretty well, if all things are considered, because... Well, we're going to move in. This is a little bit of a spoiler for our next segment, but considering what we know happens on Earth a little bit after this time period, it should be interesting to see how the final battle is going to take place between the Z Fighters and the Frieza Force.
Yeah, true.
Because, well, Gohan and Piccolo are now going to be massive threats to Frieza.
That is true, which... pretty much, let's go ahead and give our final thoughts on not only this chapter, but this arc as a whole. I mean, honestly...
This chapter, I have to give a 7, just because Frieza was amazing.
Honestly, I'm willing to go 7.5.
Frieza was just amazing.
Because, I'm going to be honest here, like, this chapter was enough to, like, change my tone for the arc.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay... Now that I know there are more puzzle pieces to be filled in the next arc, I'm less disappointed. Yeah. But ultimately, for the arc as a whole, I'm probably going to be a lot lower than you. I'm probably going to give this a 5.5.
Yeah, I was going to give it a 6.
Yeah, I'm going 5.5 for the arc as a whole. Just because, like, it wasn't a great ride, because I've mentioned this, like, multiple episodes before, but this arc struggled with the proportionality of fights to plot.
Yeah. However, I do believe part of that is because of the monthly format, and I will reread this arc in its entirety once the full color manga volumes have come out, because my opinion of the Super manga has increased after going back and rereading it. Obviously, I think the Battle of Gods arc wasn't good in the manga. I didn't think the Tournament of Power arc was good in the manga. But rereading both the...
Because this is a problem that I didn't have with the Galactic Patrol Prisoner arc.
Yeah.
I didn't have this problem back then, but this is a problem I have now, and I'm just... It bugs me still.
Yeah, and I think after rereading this arc, I think I'll probably have a higher opinion of it, because I have a higher opinion now of the Future Trunks arc in the manga after rereading it in its entirety instead of reading it month to month. I tend to think that it's actually pretty good and on par with the anime version. I still think the Tournament of Power arc wasn't as good as the anime, so there's that. But
I mean, that one was in the anime it was too long. In the manga, they literally crunched it down. So like,
also took away pretty much all of their character development from the anime.
Pretty much it's like, we have major pacing problems due to the nature of this arc. How about we just do the complete opposite and just make it worse?
Yeah.
In the worst way possible.
Yeah, it was like, so you know how every character got some form of character development, except for Tien?
Oh, yeah.
Now, none of them get character development. Even Goku and Vegeta's character development was very shortchanged in the manga version of the Tournament of Power compared to the anime.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, for as much as the anime's version was bloated, almost everyone had character development. Frieza had character development, Goku, Vegeta, Master Roshi, Gohan, Piccolo, Krillin, 18. Then you also had the development of Jiren, Toppo, Hit, Khalifa, Kale, Kaba, even smaller characters like Champa, Obani, Mageta, Frost. They all had different forms of character development, which was really nice, and something we just didn't get in the manga.
Yeah, it's a shame, too.
Even Brienne as well.
Oh, yeah. That character.
Yes. But, speaking of Beerus's crushes, let's move on into Dragon Ball Super Superhero, the fourth movie with the Dragon Ball Super moniker.
Yeah.
And, well...
Would it be fourth? No,
it's
the second.
So, it's the second movie with the Dragon Ball Super moniker, the fourth movie in the post-Dragon Ball Evolution Dragon Ball Renaissance. And yes, that needs a distinction to be made, because it has been confirmed by Akira Toriyama that had Dragon Ball Evolution not been so dog shit, he wouldn't have come back.
You can just say post-Buu Saga.
No.
Well, we forget about the final episode.
I was going to say GT.
Oh.
GT was a thing. And so was Yosen, Goku, and his friends return.
I mean, like, post-Buu chronologically.
Oh, yeah. But this is, like, the first in the post-Dragon Ball Renaissance. Fun fact, though, did you know that Dragon Ball Evolution was actually supposed to be a 7-part cinematic universe?
Ha! I laugh at that idea.
It was supposed to be 7 parts. It was supposed to go from the King Piccolo saga to the Majin Buu saga. 7 whole parts. Thank the fucking Lord that we stopped at 1. You got 1. Toriyama's like, this is dog shit. You will not shit on my legacy anymore. I will make Dragon Ball better with blackjack and hookers, and he did just that.
You know what? You weren't hyped after that post-credit scene in Dragon Ball Evolution, where it's like, oh, Piccolo's still alive? Which. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, no. But anyways, from shitty Dragon Ball movies to a good movie, Dragon Ball Super Superhero was really fun. Yeah. I watched it in IMAX, and I think it did it justice in IMAX.
Let's talk about the visuals first. The visuals. So I want to get this out of the way. I think the first 5 minutes, due to exclusively the dub itself, was shaky. Because I'm gonna be honest here, the lip syncing in the first 5 minutes were really bad.
Yeah.
They were really bad. But somehow later on in the movie that didn't become a problem. Like, a lot of people, when they saw that this movie was going to have 3D animation styles, were, like, hesitant to enjoy it. I don't think it was a problem.
I think it looked amazing.
Some people said, like, it was a little jarring at first, but I got used to it. I think that's people complaining about the lip syncing and not putting it into like specific words.
Yeah.
Because the lip syncing was awful in the first 5 minutes.
It was awful in the first 5 minutes, but it definitely got better.
Like, notice it's better with the original characters in this movie.
Yeah.
Like,
I will say that the animation really sold me when we started seeing Pan train with Piccolo.
Yeah.
That's when the animation sold me, and on its whole, that's when the movie sold itself to me.
Yeah.
Actually, no, scratch that. The movie doesn't sell itself to me until we get the QAnon-esque conspiracy theory about the Capsule Corporation. That's when I was fully on board for this movie. I was like, we have Dragon Ball QAnon, I am here for it.
Please elaborate.
Oh my god, it was my favorite part of the movie. And so, basically, what happened was, so we have, so first it's established that after Goku destroyed the Red Ribbon Army back in the original Dragon Ball, he didn't destroy all of it. There were remnants, which makes sense. It was a massive army, and like the Empire in Star Wars, it would make zero sense for all of it to be destroyed in one battle. There were remnants, and so Commander Red had a son, and in keeping with the color monikers, his son is named Magenta. Commander Magenta now.
Also, funny enough, he has the same
Voice actor as Commander Red.
and also the same height problem.
Yep. Classic Toriyama gag. Love it. And so basically, so Commander Magenta, he's like, well, we have to rebrand. So he rebrands the Red Ribbon Army as the Red Pharmaceuticals, insert commentary about pharmaceutical companies being evil. And so he's a pharmaceutical company that's actually a shell company and a front for his paramilitary army that he's going to use to take over the world. In this time, he's come to find out that Dr. Gero has had children. Dr. Gero had a wife named Vomi. Vomi, of course, is Android 21 that we meet in Dragon Ball FighterZ as well as Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Which really solidifies that as canon somehow. Like, it solidified a lot of things. The fact that 16 was designed after his son.
Yes, which we finally get a name for. 16, before becoming an android, was named Jevo. So now we know that 17 and 18 were Lapis Lazuli and 16 was Jevo. But we don't know the name of 16's brother. 16 had a brother, and that brother had a wife, and the wife had Dr. Hedo.
Yeah.
Which, I guess his name a Hedo Gero?
I think that's just his last, because I would imagine as the generations go on, the last name might have gotten lost.
Well, it couldn't have been, because it was all males.
Well, you also have to remember, like, no, that probably would have been his last name.
It has to be Gero, because Jevo had a brother, and the brother had Hedo.
But see, I'm thinking, because in Japanese culture, it's more like proper to use their last name than their first.
So
I think Hedo is his last name.
So is it Gero Hedo?
No. No, I think Hedo is his last name.
No, so does that mean that Dr. Gero's last name is Hedo?
No, I don't think so.
Then how does it work? What is their last name? It has to be either Gero or Hedo.
Well, see, here's the thing, is that we only get one of them, and since we don't know that, because, like, us, as Americans, we don't know that much about,
well, I mean,
Japanese naming...
Well, if we go through the other families we have the Brief family, and we have the Sun family.
Well...
We have we have Son Gohan, Son Goku, Son Gohan again, Son Goten, and Son Pan.
Remember when Bulma talks... Or is it Bulma that often refers to her as son?
She calls him son in Japanese.
In Japanese, yeah. So it's used there. So it's probably it's probably not consistent in Dragon Ball, but we don't have enough information to distinguish between one or the other for Dr. Hedo.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, because all of Goku's family are named the Sun family after Grandpa Gohan.
Yeah, so I'm not really willing to put a pin on it exclusively, but I'm just going to go with the fact that it might be his last name.
Yeah, but either way, Dr. Hedo, who is kind of a Sigma male, not gonna lie.
You're not wrong.
He's kind of a Sigma male.
I'm going to be honest.
The first thing he does after getting let out of prison was throw a grenade back into the prison and kill the prisoners that were bullying him.
And based off of the information we've got from Krillin, he's notorious in that prison for, like, making people disappear.
Yeah, so he's kind of a Sigma male. The reason why he was even in prison was that he robbed a grave and rose the dead, to which he then put them to work in a convenience store and was going to take the proceeds of their labor in the convenience store.
Ugh.
Classic Dragon Ball shit.
Which, I mean, yeah, Magenta rightfully points out that was a bad idea.
He was like, you probably could have made more money from just robbing the store itself. But anyways, back to... So Magenta meets Hedo, and Hedo's like, I really don't want to work for you. But then Magenta gives him the conspiracy, which is the fact that he believes, not really, he doesn't believe this, but he spins this conspiracy theory that, in my opinion, if you are an ordinary citizen in the Dragon Ball universe, you should believe this conspiracy theory, because there is nothing to point otherwise.
Yeah, so, like, one of the biggest hinges of the theory that Magenta spins for Dr. Hedo is the fact that, aliens have been sighted flying in and out of Capsule Corporation.
Yes, so his theory is this. The Capsule Corporation is a front. Their fortunes and millions off of their groundbreaking technology is a sham. It's all alien technology.
Which, of course, us in the audience know is false, because Bulma's had that technology since before she met Goku.
However, to the rest of the world, what it is that how it works is this. Bulma is a fraudulent scientist. She is just a face while she's repurposing alien technology given to her for wealth, power, and status in exchange for allowing her corporation to be used as a staging area for the aliens to invade Earth. And his theory hinges on the fact that the previous Demon King Piccolo also decided to make a deal with the Capsule Corporation to work alongside her and the aliens for global domination. And he cites the fact that the aliens are actually fighting over Earth, and he uses the footage of Trunks killing Frieza as his evidence that the Capsule Corp is funding aliens to fight other aliens so they could take over the Earth, because if you remember, back in the Trunks saga, all the way back in the 90s in the original Dragon Ball, Trunks was wearing Capsule Corp gear when he killed Frieza, thus confirming the conspiracy that the Capsule Corp has aliens in their employ. And then, it should be noted that the evil alien demon Majin Buu has also been spotted on the premises of Capsule Corp, and while many people don't remember that Buu murdered everyone on the planet, they do know he's an alien. And so thus, Magenta basically is like, here it is, the grand conspiracy. The briefs, in triple quotation mark, in triple parentheses, are gonna sell us out to the alien overlords who will enslave us for our labor and ruin our way of life.
Oh, don't forget the fact that they think the Satan family is in on it, too.
Oh, yeah, they also think that Hercule is in on it. And to top it all off, they have a QAnon-based YouTube channel. It's amazing! It's the best thing about this movie, and I love it so much.
Literally, the most views it got on that channel was 12 views.
We've had bigger views than them.
And that's probably just them...
There's probably just other members of the army mandatory having to watch the videos. So, yes, he gives him this QAnon-level conspiracy theory, and Dr. Hedo, not knowing any better, because why would he, believes it.
I mean, he's only 24.
But not only that he's 24, he also has no connections to the Z-Fighter, so why would he believe it?
And also,
why wouldn't he believe it? Sorry.
He also has, a very, I wouldn't say childish, but,
he's naive.
He's a very naive personality. So.
Yeah.
Because, he has a very simplistic view of, heroes. He has a very black and white view of, the world must have heroes and villains.
Yeah.
So, he's easy to manipulate from that factor.
There is one thing that I really wish we had, which is the fact that Yamcha is considered the best baseball player on planet Earth, and he's also the ex-boyfriend of Bulma, if he tied that part into the conspiracy theory, I would have lost my shit.
Oh my god, that is so true.
Like, because from the perspective of the Dragon Ball audience, this is literally QAnon. Like, Bulma is the Jews.
You can stop talking now.
And so, yeah, that's where they're going. You cannot tell me that's how they did it. You cannot tell me he was not triple parentheses around the Bulma Brief family and the Capsule Corporation.
You can stop talking.
You know that's what they were doing. You know they were doing it.
You can stop talking now.
I'm telling you, he definitely was triple parenthesing when he said Capsule Corporation.
You can cease.
And so
cease.
It's my favorite part of the movie. I loved it so much. But overall, the rest of the movie is also really good. The action.
Yeah, the action's actually surprisingly good. Like, even the first action scene we get with Gamma 2 versus Piccolo is really good.
I like how it's like, can I see his sound effects?
And it's an actual part because, oh yeah, Dr. Hedo has such a fascination with heroes that, oh yeah, he would put comic sound effects into the androids that he builds.
Well, did you actually see where it comes from? There's a small holographic, like, attachment on the back of Gamma 2. And so when he returns to the lab, you actually see it malfunction. And that's why it's not there anymore when Piccolo and Gamma 2 fight in the second round. It actually malfunctioned in between the fights.
Yeah.
But, oh my... The Gammas, in my opinion, were really fun.
Yeah.
They were really fun. Gamma 1 versus Gohan.
I liked Gamma 2 better. Because,
I like Gamma 2 better,
because
for sure.
Unfortunately, Gamma 2's character writing was, like, much more fleshed out. Gamma 1's more like the stoic, silent type. But
Gamma 1 is the Jiren to Gamma 2's Topo.
True. But, like, Gamma... Like, it's not deep, but Gamma 2 does have, like, a character crisis there.
Yeah, where he's, like, Well, first of all, I really do like the fact that people that see Piccolo should think he's the Demon King Piccolo.
Yeah.
I did like the fact that they kept addressing him as Demon King Piccolo, because, like, he looks exactly like him, and technically he is him.
Yeah.
So I like that. I liked Double O Namekian. Fucking Piccolo Bond over here, infiltrating the fucking secret base.
Yeah.
That was actually really good.
I actually did, like, especially like that part, because it was creative. Like, I didn't think I needed to see Piccolo unchained, but yeah.
Oh god, the Piccolo ultimatum. Piccolo Chapter 2, Parabellum.
Oh my god.
But I liked Spy Piccolo. Well, first of all, let's just get this out of the way. Piccolo is the main character of this movie. This is a Piccolo movie through and through, and I think they did justice.
Yeah, I do have one major problem with... Not major, actually. I've kind of, it's a minor problem. It's more of a nitpick, if anything, and just... I don't like his motivation.
He doesn't like the fact that Piccolo straight up just started gaslighting Gohan for literally half the movie.
Like, literally, he puts... Oh, if I put Gohan's daughter in danger and my god-granddaughter, he'll get stronger, which is like... Oh, I'm getting flashbacks to Goku and the Senzu Beans.
Literally, he... So, like, basically how it works is this. So, after the Gammas fight Piccolo, they come back and they're like, huh. And then after doing further research, they realize, wait a minute. Famed biologist Son Gohan actually has connections to the Capsule Corporation and the Satan family. And he doesn't leave his lab. What if he's a shadow boss in the organization? We need to draw him out so that we can actually take down this organization. And that's when they come up with the idea that we need to kidnap his preschool-aged daughter from preschool.
So Piccolo was lucky enough to manipulate his way onto the team that goes to kidnap Pan.
Which, by the way, is a blessing, because if Piccolo didn't go, Pan would have killed them.
Yeah, but the problem comes...
Pan would have murdered her kidnappers, and that poor preschool teacher would then have would have no answers as to why my 3-year-old preschooler just murdered 2 grown men outside of my preschool.
Yeah, but then the problem comes when was it the flight there or the flight back? When he has the internal monologue where it's like, oh, if Pan's in danger, Gohan becomes stronger.
I think it was on the flight back. No, it was there. It was on the flight there.
That's when I'm like, okay, I don't like this.
Yeah, it's definitely...
Like, it's in character, because you...
Yeah, it's a morally heinous decision.
I do not, like... It's a really morally heinous decision. I don't like it.
Like, Sovereign, he told me how he didn't like it. I actually like it because, one... The Z-Fighters, this has been needed to be stated ever since the 90s, the Z-Fighters, contrary to popular belief, are not superheroes and are actually very morally reprehensible people, all things considered, considering many of them are former assassins, warlords, genociders, and criminals! Like, remember, Tien was an assassin, Yamcha was a bandit, Vegeta literally genocided planets, and Piccolo was a warlord, Majin Buu a fucking demon, and they're friends with a callous, misanthropic god of destruction that murders populations on a whim.
Yeah.
They are morally reprehensible people.
This might be just, I'm viewing this as an adult, and now that something that, like, we watch as it's released is like,
Yeah. Also, like, he was, like, Sovereign was just like, that's, like, so messed up. I'm like, you do remember this is the same man that, 1, is actively training a 3-year-old in how to kill people, but 2, took a 3-year-old and left him in the fucking wilderness for 6 months with nothing but the clothes on his back, and that's it.
Again, I think I'm starting to realize that, like, watching this as an adult, like watching new Dragon Ball content as an adult, I'm more keen to this kind of stuff. So it's like I'm a little more aware, and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't like this.
Yeah,
I don't like this at all.
You're like, wait a minute,
my favorite characters of all time were actually awful people?
It's like Always Sunny, but anime. It's like, honestly, this movie reminds you that the cast of Dragon Ball is literally the cast of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but just anime.
I mean, actually, this isn't the first time this happened, like, in the past couple of years. Remember when we were all, like, talking about how, oh dear God, Goku put the multiverse at risk. Oh God.
Yeah, when Goku literally threatened all of existence by holding what could be sometimes considered a multiversal war for survival.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people didn't like that, myself included.
Which, as we came to find out in later revelations throughout the arc, that if Goku didn't do it, then Xeno would have just killed them all outright and committed the ultimate omnicide.
Well, that's just lazy writing.
Exactly. So, but yeah, no. Our characters are morally reprehensible people. The only characters that are truly not morally reprehensible in any way are Goten, Trunks, and Future Trunks.
Yeah, and literally, like, I'm going to stay on my Vegeta stand train
because you also have to remember, Gohan is a vigilante.
That is true.
Gohan is also a criminal vigilante. So there is that.
He has moral backing to support his actions, at least.
He's a fucking vigilante!
Oh,
They're all criminals!
Oh, so you're going to criticize me for not having that critique for the entirety of the MCU? Is that where this is going?
Okay. But here's the thing. This is an example about how all our main characters are fucking criminals. In the MCU, we know they're fucking criminals.
Do we, though? Do we?
They're white-collar criminals in extreme quotation marks.
But anyway, yeah, I'm going to stay on my Vegeta Stan train here because he's the only one that attempts to reform for his bad decisions.
Yes.
As heinous as they are.
It should be noted at least that of all the people that are criminals, the fucking mass genocider is the only one that feels remorse and firmly believes that he should go to hell because he was so evil.
Exactly.
None of the other aforementioned...
That's why this is even more jarring for me, because I literally see characters getting reformed in front of my eyes over the past year. And then, Piccolo's over here, still doing the exact same things.
Listen, compared to the assassin, the bandit, the warlord, the demon... Yeah, he's the only one that... The mass genocider is the one that realized, wow, I was really fucking evil. I really don't deserve the good life that I have right now. I probably should atone for my sins for the rest of my life, as well as the fact that when I die, I need to go to hell because I'm not a good person. I murdered innocent people.
I knew there was a bit in there that would help me win this argument, and that was the bit of info I needed. Yes.
But yeah, so Piccolo...
See, the problem is for me, like, characters are getting, like, in the modern Dragon Ball era, characters are getting written much better now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, Vegeta goes through an arc to atone for his past sins, and now I see Piccolo getting written like how he did in early Dragon Ball with like heinous morals and all, and I'm like...
But, okay, while we say heinous morals, let's be honest here. Pan was completely for it. She thought this was the best adventure of her fucking life. She was just like, he's like, I need you to put on these handcuffs. She's like, okay! She's like, I need you to pretend that you're being held hostage. And she's just like, help me, Dad! Help me! Please! Is the camera not rolling? Okay, good. I can take off these fucking handcuffs.
Yes, she took an active role in gaslighting her dad.
Pan was gaslighting Gohan so hard. Like, Piccolo's like, Pan, pretend you're being hurt. She's like, oh, right. Ow! Dad! Help me, please! And Gohan fell for it. Gohan got so mad. And do you know what's even crazier? He doesn't figure it out. The end of the movie comes, and he doesn't know that he was being gaslit the whole time!
That's what's even worse. Piccolo doesn't pay for the fact that he put... Like, imagine if Gohan found out that Piccolo actively put Pan at risk.
Okay, was she really in active risk? She could kill everyone there, not named Gamma 1 and 2. Let's be honest here. Pan is a walking weapon of mass destruction at age 3. Let us be clear here. She was not in danger of them. They were in danger of her.
I don't know. I still don't think Gohan would appreciate the fact that Piccolo's actions resulted in Pan getting shot at.
Listen. I'm not saying Gohan would agree with Piccolo. But I am saying, though, that Pan was not in danger.
Let me just put it this way. Do you think if circumstances were different and Gohan was made aware of Piccolo's actions, do you not think that would have resulted in at least a 5-minute fight?
I don't think he would fight, but I think it would be more along the lines of how he got super pissed at Goku when Goku tried to pimp out Videl to old Kai back in the Buu Saga. I think it would be like that.
Not physical fight, but there would be like a verbal...
Yes, there would be that. Do you not remember when Goku tried to pimp out Videl to old Kai?
Yes, I do remember. I mean, hell, if that was used to be like, hey, you gotta think about this different. Don't do that shit again. I would be perfectly fine with that, but the fact that Piccolo doesn't suffer any consequences... just because of the fact that he was able to skirt the fact that he was involved in putting Pan in danger.
It's all good. He's really living up to his 00 Namekian moniker right now. Just as morally heinous and reprehensible as James Bond himself.
Alright, I think I've given you all the information I need to firmly plant my position as to why I don't like that aspect of Piccolo's character writing in this movie.
And I can understand it, but I find it fucking hilarious.
You
From the gaslighting, to the QAnon, to the fucking help me dad please, to the, oh right, I can just kill you all.
You guys heard it here, folks. Shiny wants more gaslighting in his entertainment.
I'm a big fan of Star Wars. Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie. And that movie is literally a masterclass in gaslighting. Yes, I do want more!
I forgot Revenge of the Sith was your favorite for some godforsaken reason.
And I also finished reading the Revenge of the Sith novelization, which is even more gaslighting, and I love it, because it's so fucking evil. So, yes, I do enjoy seeing gaslighting in my media, because it's really fun. I mean, I also like the movie Gaslight, which is where the term even comes from. The movie Gaslight is also really fucking good, so there's that. Have you seen the movie Gaslight?
I have not.
It's really good! Does it have gaslighting? Yeah, the entire plot is gaslighting, but it's amazing!
Anyway, Can we get back on topic, please?
So, the fights between Gohan and Gamma 1 and Piccolo Gamma 2 rematch were really good.
Yeah. Let's get back to the point where I can talk about Piccolo positively again. So, Piccolo Giga Chad.
Yes. So, after Piccolo realizes, holy shit, these people think we're a fucking cabal, I need to get out of here, and I need to find a way to get stronger. He goes to Dende, who... Dende, unlike Kami, actually experiments with the Dragon Balls, and it was like, I could probably upgrade it.
And it's not even that, like, contrived, because he doesn't even... Like, it's not even something that, like... We could ignore that element of the movie, and the plot would stay exactly the same.
Yeah.
So
But it's a nice piece of world building.
Yeah, like, I can see the criticism of, like, oh, he can just immediately upgrade the Dragon Balls. That's so contrived. But, like...
We've seen him upgrading it since the Buu
And
saga.
also, like I said, if that element wasn't in the movie, would people complain?
Yeah.
No one would complain at that.
Exactly. But it was nice to see that he did upgrade it. And also, the water he used is the sacred water that Korin used all those years ago.
Oh god, don't even remind me of the sacred water. I have so many problems with that.
Hey, it was a nice callback that, the sacred water, while not actually practical for power-up effects, can be used to help upgrade the dragon. I really like that.
Not practical. Goku literally is like, oh, there's a sacred water. I can use that and immediately get powerful. Gets it. Turns out that it was the training that made him powerful, and then realizes an arc later, oh, the sacred water actually exists. I don't like it.
But the sacred water does make a return, and it's what Dende uses to help upgrade the dragon. To which we then go with... So then we find out that Bulma has Capsule Corp on Dragon Ball Watch, which, let me say this, does not help the idea that this is a cabal dedicated to alien expansion when the mystical artifacts known as the Dragon Ball are currently on 24/7 watch by the corporation.
But thankfully somehow the Red... Wait, how the hell does the Red Ribbon Army not know about the Dragon Balls? Literally their mission was to collect Dragon Balls. And the
So
Red
here's the
Ribbon
thing. They know about it, but what's the point? They can't find them.
No, like, that could have been added onto the conspiracy.
Oh, yeah, no, they should have used the Dragon Balls in the conspiracy, because Bulma, as we come to find out, has been using the Dragon Balls as plastic surgery, despite being the richest woman on the planet.
Yeah, literally remember when we talked about the trailers, like, oh yeah,
Yeah, so we come to find out that Bulma used it to make her ass fatter and make her eyelashes longer.
Yeah, which we memed about it when we saw it in the trailer, but we didn't know that was actually going to be a thing.
Yes. In the trailers, we were like, why did they make Bulma so thick? Well, there was plot relevance for that.
Unfortunately.
So, which I mean, let's be honest here. look at Vegeta's body. She needs to keep up with that. Vegeta is literally a Greek god, sculpted from marble. She needs to keep up with that. And you also have to remember back during Dragon Ball Super, Goku did say Bulma's tits were getting too saggy.
Can we move on?
So, she definitely got a complex from that. And then remember, when she met Zuno, it happened again!
Can we move on?
This has been an ongoing character arc, because then in the Broly movie,
no,
I'm
cutting you off right now. You're not justifying this.
I was gonna say the Broly movie is when we see her
Stop.
get the idea, maybe I could use the Dragon Balls to make myself look younger. She's been having a complex over this for the entirety of Super, and now it's come to fruition.
We're moving on.
So yes, Piccolo helps. So Piccolo uses the Dragon Balls to bring out his potential because he doesn't have time, nor the ability really to go find Old Kai to do it for him. And Dende is too young to use the Grand Elder's ability to do it. So he has Shenron do it after the upgrade, and Shenron does it for him, as well as giving him a little extra. Which, of course, is the fucking Giga Chad Piccolo form. Orange Piccolo, where he has a fucking lantern jaw of all lantern jaws, just comes out here, and he just fucking wrecks house.
Yeah. Which, like, what do you think... What character can you equivocate Gamma 1 and 2 to? Because obviously they're supposed to be super strong, but enough to give Ultimate Gohan trouble and to... Or no, Super Saiyan Gohan trouble. And
Ultimate Gohan trouble, because Gamma 1 and Ultimate Gohan were even.
That is true.
So I would say...
But enough to force Piccolo... Or we could probably just say an Ascended Piccolo... gave them enough trouble to force him to transform. What do you think? What characters would be comparable to? Because remember, Ultimate Gohan fought Dispo to almost even.
So I would say that they're as strong as current Super Saiyan Blue, Goku, and Vegeta.
You think so?
Because Gohan is on the level of Super Saiyan Blue.
Oh man, I do not like that power scaling from that instance, but yeah, I see.
It's not even that instance, it's been consistent. In the Moro arc, they still show Gohan is on the level of the Super Saiyan Blues.
Yeah.
Because remember, they have to skip Super Saiyan Blue nowadays to go into Blue Evolution, Blue Kaioken, and Ultra Instinct, and Ultra Ego. They don't even stay blue.
Yeah, that's the one. I really don't like well, not even how quickly. I just don't like those instances of comparing Gohan to Goku, just because we've been focusing on Goku and Vegeta so much throughout Super that we forget that Gohan trains on the side with Piccolo. But
yeah, Gohan, and while this movie implies that Gohan's gone soft, it's not that Gohan has stopped training. It's that Gohan doesn't train in the way Piccolo trains. Gohan practices new techniques, as we come to find out. He practices new techniques, and he's not fully out of it, because when Piccolo surprise attacks him, he blocks the initial punch very easily, but then lets his guard down and gets hit by the second one. So Gohan has been training, and the manga does confirm this, because during the Moro arc, it's confirmed that Gohan not only trained pre-time skip in the Moro arc, but then trained through the time skip in the Moro arc.
Yeah.
So Gohan is actively training since Resurrection F after after Piccolo died.
Yeah. I think it's more of a symptom of the fact that we don't get to see him a lot outside of when he's utilized by the plot.
And yeah, but he is Super Saiyan Blue level. I like to believe the Gammas are also Super Saiyan Blue level.
Yeah.
And that Orange Piccolo is probably Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken level, considering how he stonewalled the Gammas.
Yeah.
I would say that Piccolo would have to be Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken level, and that Cell Max and Gohan Beast, which we'll get to those two, they're most likely closer to Ultra Instinct Sign.
Probably, yeah.
Ultra Instinct Sign and Blue Evolution.
Which, oh my god. Whew. I don't even know how to put that into words. Like the fact that Cell Max is that powerful.
Well, think about it like this. We have to remember, Dr. Gero turned two ordinary teenagers.
Oh, no, this is a problem that has been through the entire
Yeah, I was
franchise.
going to say, Dr. Gero turned 2 ordinary teenagers into massively stronger than, at the time, Emperor of the Universe.
Yeah.
So Dr. Hedo, who was considered even smarter and better at what Gero does, should theoretically be able to make someone massively stronger. Especially considering he does have the data of Goku, Gohan, Vegeta, Piccolo, and Buu. As well as probably miscellaneous data of Tien, Chaozu, Krillin, 1817, Goten, Trunks, and Gotenks.
I think what's bothering me is like the sudden spike, considering these are like not the main like duo.
Yeah.
That's what's the most jarring for me, I think.
But I like it because it's a different branch of power, though.
Yeah. So it's like, it's hard to compare this to like the fights that Goku and Vegeta have had, because they are the strongest, yet this was like one of the most visually grandiose fights we've ever seen.
Yes, so let us continue. So the Gammas fight Gohan and Piccolo, and then they kind of, after talking a bit more, they all kind of realize, wait, you and I aren't that different. And then they were like, what if Magenta was lying to us? And so Magenta was like...
You're kind of trivializing it there, because, like, Gamma 2 literally has a character crisis.
Okay, yeah, no. Like, I am trivializing. Gamma 2 goes through, like, almost a full existential crisis at the realization that, what if Piccolo is right, and I'm actually doing horrible things? And it should be noted that when Carmine literally points a gun at a 3-year-old and tries to shoot her, Gamma 1 immediately takes out his gun and shoots him and is like, what the fuck are you doing? We don't fucking try and murder children!
Yeah.
Which really shows, for one, that the Gammas are not evil by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
They're not evil at all. They're antagonists, but they are not evil. They are probably some of the most morally upstanding characters we've gotten in this entire fucking franchise.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, who has better morality than them?
Yeah, that is true, especially because, like...
I think the only character with better morality is Dende.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Everyone else is fucking several shades of, if you existed in the real world, at worst you'd be on the FBI top 10 most wanted. At best, FBI top 10 most wanted, and at worst, you go down in history on the levels of Hitler, Stalin, Mussolini, and Pol Pot.
No, I think the best would just be Bulma's vanity, honestly.
You really don't think that if Bulma was real, she'd be on the level of the fucking Koch brothers in terms of embezzlement and tax fraud?
True.
Come on.
True.
Come on. But also Elon Musk levels of, you're fucking worthless because you haven't been fixing humanity despite having all the money to do so.
She actually does. She literally...
What has she done since Capsules? She created a time machine, but has not given it over to the public domain.
Well, she couldn't have.
Listen,
but then again...
she didn't know that it was illegal until after she did it.
Yeah.
Remember, because she's had the time machine from the Cell Saga since the Cell Saga. She could have easily done it long before she met Beerus and found out that time travel is actually an inter-universal, like, crime.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Gammas are some of the most morally upstanding individuals we've gotten. They were really good characters. And so, once they finally come to a realization, like, obviously, like... no one out there trying to be like, okay, well, we still gotta fight you. They're like, okay, well, we probably shouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
And then Magenta was just like, so, fuck all of you. I am going to unleash Cell Max.
Which, I'm gonna be honest here, I was not expecting Cell Max to be, like, how he is. Like, instead of it being like, oh, I'm Cell Reborn, I am going to take down Gohan as revenge for killing my past self. No, they decide to make him a kaiju instead, and I actually appreciate.
Yeah, he's straight up like Bio Broly level kaiju.
No, he's more on the level of Harudegarn, honestly.
He is actually, no, I do take that back. He is like Harudegarn levels of kaiju.
And I appreciate that because I was dreading a super fan servicey, like, callback heavy fight. But I'm like, no, this is actually an appropriate way to handle it because making Cell Max a kaiju is still good because it doesn't detract from the fact that this is Gohan and Piccolo's movie.
And do you know what I love? Cell Max uses his wings to try and fly when he's hampered by ki. Something that Cell should have been doing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I also like how they made Cell Max's tail just a fucking wrecking ball.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too. I'm kind of glad of that because otherwise they would have made that into an absorption tail, and I was so afraid we would be getting Perfect Cell from him absorbing one of the gammas. I was honestly afraid of that.
Nope, he is just he's literally just a force of nature. And in my opinion, he gives us one of the most brutal on-screen beatdowns that we have ever seen since the Frieza saga. Until the Moro arc is animated, and that will then take the place of the most brutal beatdown, hands down. As it stands, Cell Max versus Piccolo and the Z Fighters is fucking brutal. Like, he brutalizes Piccolo in so many ways.
Yeah, especially because his fighting style is a lot more animalistic than, like, Perfect Cell was.
Yeah, he's far more brutal, and it's actually, at times, kind of scary how brutal he is. Like, he fucking, like, tears Piccolo's arm off and then starts slamming his head into the ground. And just, like, he literally looks like a bunch of cops beating up a black person.
Oh my god, you had to do that, didn't you?
It's that level of brutal. Listen, Piccolo was black.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fight you on that.
You know Piccolo. You know Piccolo is black, so Cell has to be the police.
Can you stop making cringe comments this episode? You are saying the cringiest shit throughout this entire episode.
Fine. But yes, Cell was really fucking brutal. We did get to see the return of Goten and Trunks, and finally, for the love of God, finally, they look like teenagers.
Yeah, which, honestly, like, I feel like I mentioned this once in the past year on how, like, oh, that's just Saiyan biology where they have just a sudden growth spurt at 15 or 16.
And which they then straight up said, yeah, no, we had a growth spurt.
Yeah, which, honestly, yeah, makes sense considering, like, you know, Goku stayed under 4 feet tall until he was, like, 16. Gohan stayed small up until he was 13, and yeah, Goten and Trunks are finally hitting that, so, yeah.
He wasn't 13.
Gohan?
Gohan was 9 during the Cell games.
I thought he was 11.
He was 3 at the beginning of the Saiyan saga, 4 when Vegeta came by, 4 all throughout the Frieza saga, 5 by the Future Trunks saga, 5, so then he was 8 by the Android saga, and 9 after coming out of the Hyperbolic Time Chamber.
There's no way he was only 9 at the end of the Cell saga.
He was 9. 3 at the beginning, 4 by Vegeta, 5 by Trunks, 8 by the Android's appearance, 9 by the Cell games.
I legitimately need verification on that because I don't believe it.
That's how the age works. He was 3 when he was introduced, remember?
Yeah, he was 3 when he was introduced, yeah.
And 1 year goes by, and he's 4 when Vegeta comes by. And then all of the Vegeta and Namek saga happen within the same year. 1 year later is when Trunks happens, so he's 5. Then they have the 3-year time skip training for the androids, so he's 8. And then he spends 1 year in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. He's 9. Because then you have to remember, the 7-year time skip, that's when he's 16. For the Boo saga.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Gohan was 9.
Ugh.
Yeah, no, Gohan was 9 years old during the Cell games. That's why it always bothered me that they keep referring to him as Teen Gohan. He's not a teenager. He's barely a preteen.
Ugh.
Yeah, no, he's 9. He's 9 years old.
But back on topic. Finally, we get Goten and Trunks aged up.
Yeah.
And they're keeping the blue hair, which...
Yeah, they're keeping the blue hair on Trunks, which is in line with how Akira Toriyama envisioned him. In fact, a lot of the characters have gotten their manga designs from the original Z manga that Toriyama had been using.
Because Piccolo has yellow highlights to his design.
Yellow highlights. He will still always have the 5 fingers, just because the 5 fingers are easier to animate than the 4 fingers of the manga.
Are they easier?
That's what I've heard. That's the only reason they keep it at 5.
Okay.
Because he's canonically, canonically Piccolo has 4 fingers.
Okay.
In the manga, and in the manga, up until this day in the Super manga, Piccolo still has his 4 fingers. It's only in the anime we see 5.
Okay.
But he gets his yellow highlights instead of the the pinkish flesh highlights that we usually see.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we get their manga designs, which is really cool. We get the return of Fat Gotenks because Goten and Trunks don't train.
Yeah, which somehow they prove to be useful.
Pretty useful, in fact. They're the ones that got the first blow on Cell Max's weak point.
Yeah, which imagine that being useful.
Yeah, we got 18 and Krillin to come back,
which is funny that they're kind of referring to her End of Z GT design.
Yeah, which is really good. But I also like that they brought her back to fight against the Red Ribbon Army, and she made no mention of payment. Which I think means that she probably came here for revenge first and foremost.
Yeah, like she still wears the tracksuit and all, but she has the cut down hair.
She has the mom hair now.
Oh,
yeah. She's now fully embraced her mom status. Krillin came in his police uniform.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I also like that Krillin was the one to remind Piccolo to go giant, because it really has been that long since Piccolo's done it.
That is true, yeah.
Krillin was like, go big! He's like, what? Go big like you did against Goku! And he's like, oh my god, I did do that.
Yeah, because, remember how long it's been since he's last used the stretchy arms up until he used it in the Universe 6 saga?
Yeah, well, the last time he used the stretchy arms was in the Buu saga.
Oh, did he use it in the Buu saga?
Yeah, not in a fighting capacity, but more like grabbing Goten and Trunks capacity.
Okay. Yeah, because he didn't really use it in a fight since...
After that, the other times he used it was against 17.
Yeah.
But, he didn't use it against Cell because Cell kind of just, tore him apart.
Yeah.
And then after that, we barely saw his fight against the Cell Juniors. And then he doesn't really fight in the Buu saga.
Yeah.
And then he gets pretty much one-shot by Beerus. Did he use it in the Resurrection F movie against the Frieza soldiers?
No.
He didn't use it against Resurrection F Frieza soldiers. So, yeah, then the next time would be against Frost.
Yeah.
And then he uses it again in the Tournament of Power, and then...
He
did use it against 7-3 in the manga.
That is true.
And he used it against Saganbo and Moro as well.
Yeah. But that technique is actually utilized pretty well in this movie, too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then, what else? Krillin came back, which was really nice. Oh, yeah, Gamma 2 Sacrifice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we definitely have to mention that.
Really, first of all, I think it was one of the most beautiful scenes in the entire movie.
Yeah. Nah, for me, it's got to be... It's got to be the special beam cannon for me, honestly.
Oh, no, the special beam cannon is also extremely beautiful, but the visualization of Gamma 2, flying down, and Cell Max with one arm, just holding him up, so you just see this fiery background, while Cell Max holds this just giant blue flame in his hand, while it crashes down and you see the earth crack under him, is really cool, and honestly, it's wallpaper worthy, but will never be sold as such because no one's gonna buy merchandise of Gamma 2 and Cell by themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Because, I mean, honestly, of the two Gammas, he's the one that had the most, character like writing, and it was
I think that's why they killed him off.
yeah.
Because it paid off.
And it's a shame that he's the one that stays alive, because
Gamma
Gamma
One.
1's kind of boring.
Gamma 1 is kind of boring. But I am looking forward to see him show up because he's a Z Fighter now, actually. He's actually our newest addition to the Z Fighters.
That is true.
And we could actually see him in fights moving forward.
We could, actually.
He could be like 17.
Yeah, but...
Because he got hired to be a security guard.
Yeah, but will we see him as the problem?
I think he will. Considering
I'm
that
hoping-
the Broly movie got referenced in the manga,
Yeah.
I think Superhero will be as well.
Yeah, I'm hopeful, but I can't guarantee it.
I just think that the time we'll see Gamma 1 is during, like, if, say, Frieza invades Earth again, he'll be one of the people that's, like, fighting.
Yeah.
Like when we saw the return of Chaozu in the Moro arc.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, then I can see it like that.
Yeah, he'll probably have a more... it's kind of such, like, he'll probably be more like Chaozu. Because, like, when was the last time we saw Chaozu fight? Chaozu,
he got scrubbed from the Resurrection F movie and saga, so...
Chaozu, the last time we saw Chaozu fight was Nappa.
Oh my god, you're right, because he wasn't even in the recruitment arc, he was, like, kind of scrubbed.
Yeah, he didn't even do any fighting again. I mean, you could say he kind of fought against the mind control students that Jiren brought.
No, he didn't.
He fought against Nappa.
He got scared of the possessed fighters.
Which makes it all the crazier that he's the one that gets the win on Bakura Kitor in the Moro arc. Because Tien didn't win that fight, Chaozu won that fight.
Oh my god.
So yeah, I definitely think Gamma 1 will have a Chaozu-esque role, which I think is fine for a character like him.
Yeah. Yeah. But, moving forward, let's just go ahead and get on to the final transformation of Gohan Beast.
So, after Cell gives Piccolo probably the worst beatdown he's received since Frieza.
Yeah.
Like, Gohan thinks Piccolo is dead. And I mean, me knowing better as an audience member, like, of course I know he's not dead. But if I was there, I would probably think he died. It was brutal. Like, he tore his arm off. He threw him into the sky. He blasted him, like, 1,000,000 times. He, like, broke his head. Like, he was bleeding everywhere. Like, if I was there, I would second guess whether Piccolo's alive or not.
Yeah. And then, of course, the obvious reference to the Cell Saga with the red streak triggering his anger.
Which actually goes deeper, because if you remember in the manga arc of the Tournament of Power, as well as the anime arc, Gohan says he wants to evolve as a human and not as a Saiyan.
Yeah.
And one could say that this is that evolution. Because there's been a long-standing fan theory that Gohan's rage comes from Chi-Chi. Because Chi-Chi is a rage monster. And if you remember, back when we even first met Chi-Chi, her attacks were emotion-based. That's how she used her helmet, was through her emotions, whether she was afraid or angry. So there's been a long-standing fan theory that Gohan's powerful rage has been from Chi-Chi, his human side.
That would be pretty funny, because that would actually be like... Because remember when Vegeta said, oh yeah, hybrids have more potential as in comparison to purebreds.
Yeah, and it's canonical. And Toriyama's come out and said that hybrids naturally have a higher level of S cells. Gohan has the least amount of S cells compared to Goten and Trunks because he was born with a tail.
Yeah.
So it actually makes sense that the Gohan Beast form is actually an evolution of his human side.
Yeah, because honestly, you could probably see the two sides mixing because of the fact that he's a hybrid Saiyan.
Exactly. And note that it's a transformation triggered while he was in his ultimate Gohan state. He wasn't in base form.
Or even in Super Saiyan.
Exactly. And his eyes are red. They're not any shade of Super Saiyan.
Yeah, because when you see Super Saiyan, you see... With 1 through 3, you see the blue... Or the turquoise eyes.
Yeah, and then Super Saiyan God has red, but not Gohan red. Then
yeah,
Blue has blue eyes. Ultra Instinct has silver eyes.
Yeah.
Ultra Ego has purple eyes.
Yeah, but... I can't believe we memed Gohan Blanco into existence.
Gohan Blanco is here, and he was actually on screen for a short amount of time, but in that time, oh boy, it encapsulates everything about Gohan. The powerful rage, the cockiness. Dear God, he nearly screwed them. Piccolo had to scream, "Gohan, kill him now!" Because you could see it, right? You could see the shades of the Cell games happening all over again.
Yeah, he did pause for a second there, and then he realized, oh right, I can't do this again.
He nearly gave in to his Saiyan instincts to prolong the fight, which I'm kind of fine as that being Gohan's big weakness, and why he kind of doesn't like fighting is because when he truly likes fighting, he's worse than Vegeta.
Yeah.
Like, he's legitimately a worse person. Like, he's worse than Vegeta when he gets into fighting. Because he's very brutal, very callous, and very sadistic.
Like, especially now, like, because it was shown that Vegeta is actually doing mind training to fight like Jiren and be a lot more efficient and it's tranquil.
Really, it shows the very stark contrast in how brutal they are.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually really insane to think about the fact that when at their worst, Gohan is a worse person than Vegeta could be.
Yeah.
Because Vegeta, at his worst, is sadistic and cruel, but he's not Gohan sadistic and cruel. Like, Gohan, when he fought Cell, he, and I quote, said, "I'm not ready to clip the wings of this butterfly," which is the most serial killer shit that you have ever heard in your life. And reminder, he was 9 when he said that. That's serial killer shit. Vegeta has never said anything close to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually like a serial killer, so like he almost fell back into it, but thankfully he didn't, because Lord knows what would have happened if he did. They probably would have died.
Yeah.
And so then he uses the special beam cannon. For the first time, present Gohan has used it. It's been a big thing that in the extended media, future Gohan knows the special beam cannon, and present Gohan doesn't. And it's been kind of like the divide, that future Gohan uses the special beam cannon because he's the more fight-oriented, because, you know, apocalypse and everything. Versus Gohan, who doesn't use it. But now, regular Gohan in the present day can use the special beam cannon.
Yeah.
And he also mentions that the reason he knows how to do it is he's been training. He's been training himself to learn how to use the technique.
Yep.
Which debunks the idea that Gohan stopped training. He clearly says, "I've been training to use the special beam cannon this entire time."
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, is a pretty useful technique.
Yeah. Ultimately, like, the fight was, like, the final strike was animated really well. That's why I think that's the, like...
Oh, it was animated well, and it launched itself into space. It was reminiscent, when it was launching itself from the planet to space, was reminiscent to the Final Flash.
Yeah. And
which, there were a lot of visual callbacks to the Cell Saga throughout the Cell Max fight.
That is true, yeah, because we got the special beam cannon referencing the Final Flash. We got the red streak triggering Gohan Beast. Yeah. Any more that you can think of?
The ship that Bulma used to fly there is the same ship that they were using to hunt Cell.
That is true.
That's the same ship. Obviously, the fact that 18 showed up to fight the Red Ribbon Army, because, you know, they kind of ruined her life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was really good. And then at the end of it all, Dr. Hedo kills Magenta, because he realizes Magenta is a piece of shit. But also, I did like the fact that Magenta wasn't completely an idiot. He modified his own body to the best of his abilities. And ordinarily, that probably would have been checkmate for any regular human.
Yeah.
But Dr. Hedo also modified his own body. Thus, he was able to withstand it. And Chekhov's bee came in. He said that it doesn't matter how mechanical you are, if there's a biological component to you, my bee will kill you. And he did just that.
Yeah.
So Hedo and Gamma 1 basically immediately want to turn themselves into the police because of all the horrible things that they've done. And
I don't like Krillin's line. I don't...
Which one? That it's too dangerous to put him back in Gen Pop?
No. It's like, you didn't know what they were doing was evil, which I'm like, okay, that's not a good line, Krillin. Come
It's
on.
not. But Hedo did refute him and say, no, I did. I knew it was evil, but I just wanted money.
Yeah, also the delivery was like, that's what you would hear from an abridged series. That delivery of like, that would be the delivery you would make if you're referencing a bad line and it was an actual Dragon Ball media, and that...
I do want to know what the original translation was for
that's probably what it is, because remember, we watched the dub, so it'll probably be different in the sub version, because that delivery, that was borderline like parody-esque, and I didn't like it.
Yeah. But he wants to go back to prison, and before Krillin said that, Krillin also said that Hedo should probably not be let back into Gen Pop because of all the havoc he caused. So, but then, obviously, because if you remember, this is a big thing about Dragon Ball. The main aspects of Dragon Ball has always been, you are never going to be the strongest. There's always someone stronger than you, so you must always strive to be better. And also, it doesn't matter how evil you are, you can be redeemed. So, it would be very hypocritical of them to not try and redeem Hedo. And so they do. Yeah. Piccolo really doesn't want to, kill them or send them to jail, because he knows deep down that Hedo is a good person. Well, good in quotation marks, good relative to the rest of their moral standards. Because, remember, axiomatically, these people are fucking evil. So he's like, I don't want to do anything. Gohan could give less of a fuck because his child is safe and that's all he cares about. 18 has no room to talk whatsoever. 18 has no room to talk. Goten and Trunks do not know what morality means. Given who they've been raised by, I don't think the concept of morality has ever crossed their minds. And so Bulma was just like, well... And then when she found out about the skin, she's like, wait, he could be my new skincare doctor? Ooh. And Piccolo jumps on board because he's sick and tired of Bulma using Shenron for cosmetic surgery. So Bulma hires Hedo to be her new cosmetic surgeon, because we do find out that Dr. Hedo is both a PhD doctor and an MD doctor. So he is qualified to do it. And she also hires Gamma 1 to be security for Capsule Corp.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, is about fucking time they get security around there.
Yeah.
I mean, Vegeta, he can't be security guard worth shit. Mind you, could Trunks kill literally anybody that could threaten the Capsule Corporation? Yes, Trunks could destroy the planet about 1,000,000 times over. But would he do it? Would he want to be a security guard? No. So it's good that they got Gamma 1 on the job.
Yeah.
Which makes me want... Well, I don't think they're going to rebuild Gamma 2, because his body did turn to dust a la Infinity War.
Yeah. I'm so mad that we got teased with a good Gotenks fusion, and we were never shown it.
I know! They did do... So, throughout the movie, Goten and Trunks, they did fuse into Gotenks, but they were fat Gotenks. But at the end of the movie, they tried to do the fusion dance again, and they got it correctly, but they didn't show us, which is something that they've been doing to us since Dragon Ball GT. Back in Dragon Ball GT, we were teased with the idea of seeing a grown-up Gotenks, and they never fucking showed it. Mind you, we do know what an adult Gotenks looks like, thanks to Dragon Ball Heroes. There was a old Dragon Ball Heroes trailer that gave us our first look at adult Gotenks. It was actually very funny. It was adult Gotenks versus Frieza, King Cold, and the Metacooler army, and he transforms into Super Saiyan adult Gotenks to fight them. But that's really the only time we get to see adult Gotenks.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I know that they're fucking doing it to spite us as fans.
But yeah, that was pretty much the movie in its entirety.
Wait.
But we got to talk about the post-credit scene.
So while this was all happening, there was a subplot going on Beerus's planet. Goku, Vegeta, and Broly are training because they want to train Broly to not be a literal weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah. So what pretty much happens is that they literally have a sparring match where they're not allowed to use energy projectiles or transformations. It is just base form fighting.
It's just martial arts.
And it all happens in the background of this movie.
And
literally
the fight scenes that we do get was probably some of the best Goku versus Vegeta choreography.
Yeah.
It really showed the difference between the two of them fighting, but it also showed Vegeta's growth in trying to be energy conservative versus Goku's energy liberalness. I could not think of another word. I had to use liberal because I couldn't think of the opposite of conservative in the non-political sense.
Okay. But, yeah. And ultimately, it ends up with Vegeta getting the W.
Yep, Vegeta won. Because he was the better fighter. He was the better martial artist. And mind you, I've always been of the opinion that Vegeta is stronger than Goku in their base forms. It's just that Goku has one higher level transformation than him that will always make him stronger by the end.
Yeah.
I've been of the opinion that Vegeta surpassed Goku in their base forms after Battle of Gods. And in fact, Vegeta was 1, stronger than Goku during Resurrection F, 2, on par with Goku during Universe 6 until Kaioken, and 3, has been stronger than Goku in base form ever since he trained in the Goku Black Arc. Because of the one, remember, there was the time Vegeta went to the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, but Goku spent his time training to learn the Mafuba.
Yeah.
So since then, I believe Vegeta has always been stronger in his base form, but Goku has better transformations and techniques.
Yeah.
But in a no-holds-barred base form only fight, Vegeta wins. But it was definitely an extremely difficult fight for him, because both of them are exhausted.
Both of them probably wasted more energy than going through 2 Tournament of Powers. Because remember, they were exhausted after 50 minutes of fighting.
Yeah. Also, we get to see Broly, Lemmo, and Chilai, with Lemmo now taking Whis' place as Beerus's official chef. Broly, he's learning to control his power, and we get subtle character development for him. As he watches Goku and Vegeta fight, you see his Saiyan instincts flare, where he gets excited seeing them fight.
Yeah.
And he's trying to be excited, but not give in to rage. Because for him, heightened emotions will just circle into rage for him. So he's been trying to control himself, which was really nice. And then also, Beerus likes Chilai. He has a massive crush on her. He thinks that she's his waifu. And yeah.
Hey, he likes the pixie cut, so...
Yeah, and this is now the second type of character that we've seen that Beerus has had a crush on. His first was he liked Brienne, to which we said, I'm surprised you guys haven't noticed Beerus has a type. And I think his type is oddly skin-colored humanoid females. Because remember, he didn't find Brienne de Chateau attractive, he found Brienne attractive.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Brienne de Chateau looks like a human woman, and he doesn't give a fuck about that. Looks like a human / Saiyan, like he doesn't care about that. But Brienne, that's all him. And now Chilai, he's like, oh, yes, you guys can live here with me. So, but it looks like, hopefully, the next time we see Beerus's planet in the manga, we'll see Broly, Lemmo, and Chilai living there. Because the reason they also did that was because they didn't want Frieza to find them again.
Yeah.
And Frieza, to our knowledge, should have no way of getting to Beerus's planet.
Yeah. Especially considering even at plus light speed, it's still a 30-minute venture from Earth to Beerus's planet.
And that's assuming that it's a realm that he can get to normally. Because I don't even think he can make it to the Sacred Land of the Kais on his own. Remember, Kid Buu could only do it at instant transmission.
Yeah.
And even at his current peak at Black Frieza, I don't think he'll ever find them.
Yeah.
But overall, that was Dragon Ball Super Superhero, and considering we talked about this for well over an hour, you guys can probably tell we did enjoy this movie a lot.
I did.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it, and it's something that I've said previously in the podcast, but unlike the MCU, Dragon Ball is something I know I will always enjoy. There is always something about it that I know I can come back to and enjoy and just have childlike glee about. And this movie just solidified it for me. I was smiling throughout the entire movie. I thought it was hilarious. It had beautiful animation, great action, decent music, great characterization. I thoroughly enjoyed myself with the movie.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, I rank it similarly to how I ranked Dragon Ball Super Broly, because I also really enjoyed that movie. So I'm going to give this movie a 9 out of 10, just as I ranked Dragon Ball Super Broly.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 7.5 out of 10. One, I don't think it is... So here's the thing. It's difficult to compare this to Broly because ultimately the two movies serve two different purposes.
Yeah, this movie served to be a comedic spy thriller with Piccolo at its forefront.
Whereas with Broly, it was just a wrestling match.
Yeah.
It was literally the most grandiose fights ever displayed in front of an audience before.
It reminds me of the NWJ, which is New Japan Wrestling, which is the Japanese version of the WWE.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's what Dragon Ball Z Broly reminded me of, from the way they had the screaming where they had, like, go, Broly, go! Go, Broly, go!
Yeah, it's elements like that, because let's just face it...
That's a wrestling movie for sure.
Yeah, so, like, typically, I would have given it an 8.5, but like I said before, the characterization of Piccolo really puts a bad taste in my mouth, and I can't move past it. But I still like the movie, so 7.5 is...
I give it a 9 out of 10 because I find the Z Fighters being morally heinous individuals to be peak comedy.
I don't.
Yes. Sovereign doesn't, but I've always remembered how Toriyama has said in interviews how he doesn't like the idea that the Z Fighters are seen as heroes. They are selfish people, they are martial artists first and foremost, and they care more about their material desires first, and saving the world and its population second. They will drop everything they're doing at a drop of a hat to save people that need saving.
Yeah.
But they are selfish, hedonistic martial artists at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And this movie really does show that.
I'm just saying, just because I like how Vegeta is written now, going back to like, oh, now they're written like this again, it's really jarring for me.
It is jarring, but at the same time, there's also been no evidence to show that they have evolved past that outside of Vegeta.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's where my biggest
Vegeta
problem
is the only one that actively changes, but even then, Vegeta is also a raging hedonist, just like the rest of them.
Yeah.
Like, all of them will prioritize their own pleasure over the other person in a heartbeat, and I think that's what makes their friendships work, and why they're all such good friends, is that at the end of the day, they know that they all care about their selfish wants, but that's what endears them to each other. Like, 18 constantly wanting money from them is like, yeah... Does it make her look like a mercenary? Yes, but that's 18. And, 18's cool.
Yeah. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up everything we had to talk about that.
And so let's briefly talk about our final media segment, which was a new trailer that came out for Pokemon Scarlet version and Pokemon Violet version as a result of the Pokemon Worlds tournament. This was a competitively focused trailer.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and get into it. First thing that I want to point out, Cyclizar.
I like Cyclizar.
I love Cyclizar, honestly.
I've seen a lot of people compare him to Accelerator from Ben 10. Someone was just like, why are y'all scared of this Ben 10 looking ass Pokemon? Which has now sparked a meme in the Pokemon community about calling different Pokemon Ben 10 ass Pokemon and comparing them to Ben 10 aliens. I've seen Volcarona now get compared to Ben 10 aliens. So, Cyclizar, as a Pokemon, I think is really cool. Looks really interesting. Normal Dragon. The first one that we've had since Drampa back in Gen 7.
Yeah, which isn't too far off, but it's a unique typing because, I mean, typically, whenever you combine Normal with another base type, people get, you hear groans and moans across the audience. But
unless it was Normal Ghost, which everyone was unanimously like, yes, Normal Ghost.
Like, the easiest example you could bring up is like Pyro or Drampa.
No,
like,
not Drampa. I would say Pyroar was the big one because
Yeah.
Normal Fire did no favors for Pyroar.
Yeah.
Because, like, yeah, it has access to Hyper Voice, but so what? It has nothing to benefit from Hyper Voice.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I don't think it's gonna serve like a huge competitive niche because, like, I mean, yeah, it gets Shed Tail, which
we'll get to that.
Which we'll get to it. But other than that, I mean, obviously they mean this Pokemon to be like loosely connected to Miraidon and Koraidon.
Yeah, it has the wheel like they do, and I believe, unlike Koraidon, which the wheel is actually just a reptilian sac, this one is a reptilian sac that can work as a wheel like Miraidon.
Yeah, but the big thing is that this probably isn't a legendary.
It's not. They've shown that it's a very common Pokemon, and the description on the website says that Cyclizar have a symbiotic relationship with humans because while humans can use Cyclizar for transportation, Cyclizar can use human connection as warmth for the winter.
Huh. And then, because we're probably not going to get like, oh, this evolves in like this.
It's not going to be a Cosmog,
yeah,
or a Kubfu.
Yeah, so it's probably just going to be like, oh, Diancie and Carbink. We're probably going to get like a relationship like that.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a Diancie Carbink situation where it is a relation to Koraidon and Miraidon, but not like an evolution.
Yeah, maybe it could be like. Because remember how we talked about in the leaks the existence of Paradox Pokemon?
Yeah.
Maybe one of them happens to be like a level beyond Paradox Pokemon or
what
something
if
like
Miraidon and Koraidon are just Paradox versions of Cyclizar?
Yeah. Oh god, I don't want to imagine like tons of legendaries roaming around in the past and the future.
I mean...
Well,
then again, I mean, look at the Alolans. Not the Alolans, the Galarian birds.
That is true.
Yeah. Anyways, after Cyclizar, we have... Oh yeah, Cyclizar's ability is Shed Skin, which could be worse. We've seen worse abilities on normal types.
Yeah.
Shed Skin, I mean, if Sandaconda can use it in competitive, Cyclizar could probably find a use for Shed Skin. Actually, wait a minute. Rest.
Yeah.
A Rest set. Especially with its move Shed Tail, a Rest set on Cyclizar works perfectly with Shed Skin, in fact.
Yeah. Actually, does it? Because it won't be able to benefit from the substitute.
No, but you still switch back in and you rest up, heal yourself at the end of the turn, and then you can Shed Tail again.
That is true, yeah.
So yeah. But speaking of Shed Tail is a new competitively based move. It is a status type move, which is the user creates a substitute and then switches out with another Pokemon. Now, if you're familiar with competitive Pokemon, the term we use for this is called dry passing, because it is the combination of using substitute and baton pass without stat boosts. So it's called dry passing. And it's controversial, because baton pass as a move is controversial in competitive Pokemon because of its ability to send over stat boosts and Ingrain and Aqua Ring and other statuses.
Yeah.
But this seems to be a move dedicated to just passing substitutes.
Yeah.
This move has the potential to facilitate some of the most broken hyper offense we could potentially see. Because depending on how the substitute works, if it's working off of your base HP, then it could be that if Cyclizar has a good HP stat, we could be getting free passes to 101 HP substitutes, which are the best substitutes you can get in the game.
Yeah.
On top of the fact that if Cyclizar is slow and bulky, then it will always move second, meaning that Shed Tail just works as Teleport, which is the best. Teleport is considered the best pivoting move as it stands right now because of its negative priority. So if Cyclizar is slow, then Shed Tail will work more like Teleport with the Baton Pass effect of Substitute, which will make it busted when you switch in your setup sweepers. Namely, any Pokemon that needs to use Dragon Dance, Nasty Plot, Swords Dance, Belly Drum, Shift Gear, Agility.
Yeah, it should be interesting. The only other things to note of that we really got were the new items.
Oh, wait, one other move. The other move that we have is Terra Blast.
Oh, yeah, we do have Terra Blast. Pretty much, please don't make this stronger than the cap for Hidden Power, please, for the love of God.
Yeah, so Terra type basically works like this. It changes type to the user's Terra type after the user has terastallized. Damage is physical or special, depending on which stat is higher. So,
in my opinion, I think it's going to have 60 base power, and because of this, one, it's going to be the same type as the Pokemon when it terastallizes, so you get Stab on top of that, and then you get the boost on top of that.
Well, the boost is conditional. So here's it is. So when you terastallize, you get Stab on whatever moves are the same as your Terra type. But if you say you're a Tyranitar that's Rock type, and you terastallize into a Rock Terra type Tyranitar, then Terra Blast has the multi-stab. But if you're a Colossal that's a Water type, and if you're a Colossal and Terra Water, Terra Blast will just have regular stab.
Yeah, I'm not taking that into account. Okay. I'm saying, like, Pokemon who double up on their original typing, that move is going to be busted, and it's going to be stronger than original typing. Imagine getting able to ditch Flamethrower for a move. Like, imagine being able to drop Flamethrower for a free Overheat.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think it's going to be above 60 base power.
I think it's going to be 70, because I think they want to make it like how Hidden Power was pre-nerf. Because remember, back during, I believe it was up to Gen 5, Hidden Power was 70 base power move. And I think they're going to make it 70.
I'm just going with 60, just purely based on the fact that Pokemon with their original typing can double up on it and instantly get, like, free Overheats Draco Meteors without any...
The reason why I think it's not going to be is for one reason, and that's Technician.
Ooh, so maybe... then I'll settle for 65.
It has to be 70, because they don't go for the 5s anymore.
Yeah, they don't?
Not anymore. No moves do go with the moves are now only 80, 90, 100, 110, 120.
What about Tail Slap and Bullet Seed? And Rock Blast?
No, I'm saying they don't make those moves anymore.
Oh, they don't make them anymore. Well...
They haven't made one since Gen 5. Not Gen 5, Gen 6.
Really?
Yeah, most of the moves nowadays have been even because of Z moves and Dynamax.
That is true. Well, I don't know. I'll settle for anywhere in the 60 to 70 range, but I'm leaning more towards 60.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 70, but I don't think they'll do 60 just because Technician Pokemon would be fucking busted if they get their same Terra types.
That is true, yeah.
Technician Mons would... Can you imagine? Scizor, Terra Steel type, Terra Blast, Technician, after a Swords Dance.
No, after an Agility.
It would be busted. That's why I think it has to be 70, because Technician would be ruling the metagame.
Yeah. Actually, does Scizor learn Agility?
Yes.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It learns Agility and it learns Swords Dance.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I think Terra Blast is going to be interesting. I do like the trade-off in the sense that you need to Terra if you want Terra Blast to work. You don't get the free coverage if you don't Terra. It stays normal type.
Yeah, which I think does give a lot more freedom, because let's just face it, there are just certain, like with Dynamaxing, there are like, oh, you got to use this Pokemon, because let's just face it, Clear Body's a busted ability for Dynamax Pokemon.
Yeah.
Whereas for like terastallizing, there's a lot more variety that can be accomplished.
There's a lot more variety, but I think this will mainly show that there are going to be dedicated terastallizers and Pokemon that will never touch it, like Dynamax. In Dynamax formats, Incineroar, you will never Dynamax your Incineroar. Or Dracovish. You don't want to Dynamax your Dracovish. I think it's going to be pretty similar, where you're going to have some Pokemon, like, say, Landorus, that will never terastallize.
Yeah.
Because ground flying is too good for it. But then you'll have some Pokemon that'll terastallize, probably a Pokemon like Porygon Z, who will normal type Terrastalize into its adaptability Hyper Beam with choice specs and will then destroy anything that isn't ghost type.
Yeah. But I think now we can move into the items, which let's get the boring one out of the way.
Loaded dice.
Loaded
dice, basically free skill link.
Yeah, pretty much.
However, I will say that for VGC, loaded dice not going to do much.
Are there any Pokemon with Unburden and multi-hit moves?
Let me check which mons have Unburden. The main things I've been seeing is now Cinccino doesn't need to run Skill Link and can now run Technician, which is a horrifying thought when you realize that you could normal type Terrastalize into loaded dice Terra Tail Slap with Technician.
Yeah.
That's going to be a world of destruction.
Also because I feel like it's Cinccino. I think it's...
Yeah, Cinccino.
No, Cinccino.
I've heard it was Sin.
But anyway, because Cinccino is a relatively fast Pokemon.
Oh, it's very fast. I've been playing a lot of random battles, and whenever I run into a Cinccino, I just want to fucking kill myself. Oh, yeah, so Pokemon that could probably use multi-hit moves that has Unburden, Sceptile with Bullet Seed.
Ew.
And Sceptile has a 120 base speed.
That's disgusting.
Loaded dice? Well, no. Well, I don't think loaded dice is a consumable item, though.
Oh, that would balance it out. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's a consumable. I think it's something that will always be there.
Okay, that balances it out quite a bit, actually.
Yeah,
because if it say adds 10% to 4 and 5 on the randomizer for the multi hits, I think that'll balance it out just fine. Because Pokemon with like a Scale Shot, Tail Slap, Rock Blast.
Oh no.
Yeah, Garchomp's becoming more viable.
Because right now, Scale Shot Sword Stance is a phenomenal set on Garchomp. Now imagine, and you can use any item. Some use Life Orb. I personally use Leftovers on mine. But you could do loaded dice to guarantee the 5-hit Scale Shots.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
In singles, the loaded dice are gonna be a sleeper. Right now, the biggest fear that everyone has is Technician Breloom and Technician Cinccino because, well, Technician Breloom with Bullet Seed hitting 5 times, ouch. Technician Cinccino with Tail Slap, ouch. Especially if they Terrastalize into Normal and Grass respectively. Oh fuck, that's gonna hurt. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anyone else that has a Technician that could benefit from this, because loaded dice, we just said it's the weakest one, but now that we've actually talked about it, could break some Pokemon. Let's see, we got Persian, Double Slap, I guess. Scizor has Technician, but I don't. Dual Wing Beat, I guess.
Oh yeah, Dual Wing Beat falls under Technician, but it doesn't benefit from loaded dice.
I mean, it does because it guarantees 2 hits.
Does it fail to get 2 hits sometimes? Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen tournament games lost over getting 1 Dual Wing Beat instead of 2.
I did not know that move had that effect.
Yes, both Dual Wing Beat and Triple Axle can fail after 1 hit.
Huh, they've never failed for me. Wow.
Yeah, no, they can fail. So, that could work on Technician Scizor. Ooh, Triple Axle on Hitmontop.
Ugh.
Tail Slap on Ambipom. Yeah. Bullet Seed Breloom. Bullet Seed. No, okay, Roserade's never gonna use fucking Bullet Seed, let's be honest here. But, yeah, that's actually pretty fucking scary now that I've thought about it. Yeah. Loaded dice could work. Wait a minute. Does Marshadow get Arm Thrust? If Marshadow gets Arm Thrust, then, oh god.
Ugh.
I'm checking to see if it gets Arm Thrust, because if it does, then it's over. Okay, it doesn't get Arm Thrust, but that doesn't mean that Game Freak can't give it Arm Thrust this gen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, same thing with Hitmontop. Well, Hitmontop has triple kick.
Yeah. Wait, what's that multi-hit punching move? Is it Comet Punch?
There is Comet Punch, yeah.
I don't know if a lot of Pokemon benefit from that because Comet Punch is such a rare move.
Comet Punch is really only seen on, like... When I mean only seen, I mean, like, I've only ever seen Metagross and Clefable use it, and not in a competitive sense, in an in-game sense.
Yeah, no, Comet Punch probably isn't that great to begin with, but because, like, you don't see it on any Pokemon.
Yeah. But yeah, you can do triple kick, loaded dice for Hitmontop alongside triple axle. Ew.
It's weird that that's happened, or that you note that, because I've never had those moves fail on me before.
Yeah, no, I've had them fail on me, and I've seen them fail on other people, and I've seen them fail on other people, and then they lose because it failed.
Ugh.
So, loaded dice will be helpful for guaranteeing dual wing beats, but mainly guaranteeing triple axles, because triple axle is the most busted move under Technician.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, Ice types needed a good move.
Let's be honest here. If they ever decide to give Weavile Technician...
Because, what abilities does it have now? I forgot.
It's just pickpocket and pressure.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, loaded dice. Okay, we said loaded dice was going to be weak, but we were wrong. Loaded dice could actually be pretty useful.
Yeah, on terrestrialized sweepers, yeah, that could be pretty bad.
Next up we have is the Mirror Herb.
Which, it's probably going to be pretty niche, but, like, on the surface it looks pretty busted.
It could probably work in Uber's formats with the Geomancy Xerneas running around, or Intrepid Sword and Dauntless Shield, Zacian and Zamazenta running around.
Oh, yeah.
Because that'd be pretty good. Also, it could work on some niche Pokemon. Berserk Pokemon such as Drampa and Galarian Moltres, Stamina Pokemon like Mudsdale.
Yeah.
All those Pokemon get passive boosts sometimes. Water Compaction, Palo-Sand. Those could actually be pretty interesting.
Steam Engine Colossal.
Oh, God. Yeah, the Mirror Herb could work in some niche circumstances.
And you could also use Flatter and Swagger to force it onto yourself.
See, the one thing about Mirror Herb is I don't know if it will work on allies.
No. Like, you use it on the opposing Pokemon to confuse them.
Yeah, that could work. That could definitely work. But I feel like the safest bet is always to use Misty Terrain Tapu Fini with Swagger.
Yeah.
Because that way you don't get confused and you get the free boost.
No, I would prefer for the Pokemon to get confused, mostly because...
But the reason why it's safer to do the Tapu Fini strat is because if they first turn Break Out of Confusion, you gave them free +2 attack.
Well, that's why you don't do them on physical mons.
True, you could do it on special mons.
Yeah.
But that means you would have to have a physical attacker run Swagger. And that's a waste of a move slot.
I think Flatter would be a lot better than...
You'd have a special attacker run Flatter? Who would want... Which special attackers that are good get Flatter, though? That's the thing.
The only one that comes to mind is, like, Gothitelle or something like that.
Yeah, but Gothitelle has better things to do with its fucking Cosmic Power, Shadow Tag, Stored Power set.
Again, it's probably going to be, like, very niche to use it that way, but...
I think it'll be better in VGC formats where Pokemon easily can set up.
Yeah.
Such as Geomancy Xerneas with Power Herb, where you could run a Mirror Herb Xerneas. Don't do that. Mirror Herb Xerneas will be garbage. Because you get nothing for it. I mean, because it all depends on whether they, Power Herb Geomancy. But I could see it in VGC. It's good that... See, this is what I wish Curious Medicine did. I wish Curious Medicine only got rid of negative stat debuffs instead of all stat changes. Because the Mirror Herb only takes your positives. It doesn't take negatives.
Yeah.
Same thing with Spectral Thief. So, really sad that Curious Medicine didn't get that treatment. But the Mirror Herb's interesting. But let's get on to the best item, and the only item that wasn't shown in the trailer. The Covert Clerk. the Covert Cloak. The holder is immune to additional effects of moves.
So that one is consumable, correct?
Yes.
So pretty much...
Wait! No!
I think it was shown that it was.
No! The Mirror Herb was shown as consumable.
Check again, because I could have sworn that one was consumable.
It wasn't in the trailer. It was only on the website.
Yeah, I did see it on the website, but... Double check that.
Yeah, I'll double check it because
if it can avoid flinches, that will...
Well, we know it can avoid flinches because...
But if it can avoid more than one...
Yeah, let me see.
Because that seems a little too busted.
I mean...
Imagine...
This is Game Freak we're talking about.
Imagine, being able to avoid more than one scald burn.
Based? I see no problems with this! What do you mean, imagine you can avoid more than one skull burn? That's based! Yeah, the Covert Cloak. The hooded cloak conceals the holder, protecting it from additional effects. It's not consumable. It doesn't say it's consumable at all.
Oh, okay.
Unlike the Mirror Herb, which does say that it is consumable. The Loaded Dice, which also says it's not consumable. They go out of their way to make a distinction between consumable and non-consumables.
Okay.
So the hooded cloak is not the covert cloak, is not consumable, which makes it by far the best item revealed. Physical attackers could potentially run it to avoid skull burns. VGC users can use this to stop flinches from fake out, as well as rock slide flinches as well, or air slash flinches.
I see free trick rooms. I see free trick rooms.
Oh,
I'm gonna get free trick rooms.
Oh no! But also you get other things. So, no nuzzle, no nuzzle paralysis anymore.
Oh yeah, that's right. Nuzzle is kind of busted, huh?
No nuzzle paralysis, no ironhead flinches, no thunder paralysis, no fire blast burns, no blizzard freezes, no poisons, no confusions.
Oh man.
Oh,
if only it wasn't.
fuck.
If only it wasn't from specifically opposing Pokemon. Then free outrages all day if I could get away with that.
Yeah, that's why it's balanced in the way that it is.
I want free outrages.
Oh God! Oh Jesus Christ! Thank God they never gave Entei outrage. Jesus. But oh God, this item is so busted. The more that I think about it, man.
Free trick rooms.
Oh God, free trick rooms in VGC. No Toxapex skull burns anymore. Oh God. No flare. Oh God, no flare blitz. Oh, no flare blitz burns. Those are rare, but they come in clutch if you do get them. No fire. Oh. Oh. Far and away the best item.
Yeah.
For sure. The cloaked. What's it called?
The Covert Cloak.
Covert Cloak. That's a meta. That's this generation's heavy duty boots.
Yeah.
That's this generation's heavy duty boots.
The only problem is that heavy duty boots isn't that useful in doubles.
Yeah, it's not useful in doubles.
This is going to be useful in all formats.
Yeah, it's going to be good in both formats. Stall Pokemon. Regenerate or Slowbro.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. If it works like Wonder Skin, like we're thinking it is, direct status moves will still work. So
yeah.
Will-O-Wisp, Toxic, Thunder Wave, Confuse Ray, those will all work. Spore, those will all work. It's just anything with secondary effects. Which, now that I've thought about it, Effect Spore Mons got neutered.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Vileplume runs Effect Spore because it's a defensive Pokemon with Strength Sap.
Wait, no, it removes the additional effects of moves.
Wait, is it all it?
Because it wouldn't remove abilities. So Effect Spore is still viable.
Yeah, never mind. Just moves. So Effect Spore could still be that. Well, it depends on how it's coded, because remember, Life Orb is coded to not affect you with Sheer Force, despite that never being advertised anywhere.
Yeah.
And to be perfectly honest, we're all pretty sure it's a glitch that Game Freak has just allowed to continue.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So maybe it'll be too much for... I don't think it'll be, broken, but it's definitely the best item, coming out. And I really like that Game Freak is focusing on competitive Pokemon still.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that they revealed this at Worlds shows that they did this on purpose with competitive in mind.
Yeah.
And, yeah. Did you hear that there was a Shedinja in the finals?
Really?
Yep. Shedinja was in the finals. I know there was some controversy about the finals because the top 2 players were in previous Hot Water because they were known to have Discord servers where they just spewed misogyny against other players and casters. So I know there was a bit of controversy about the fact that the two of the main ringleaders of the misogyny both got to the finals. But outside of that, this was the biggest event of Worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that wraps up our media segments for the day.
Yeah, I think so.
And we're running at borderline 2.5 hours, so let's.
So we gotta.
Let's. Do you want to just talk about student loans and then call it a night?
I do want to lightning round some things first. Hold on, let me just pull up the team. So, yeah. Yeah, the team that had the Shedinja got second. Pretty fucking good. Team that got first had a Gastrodon. Gastrodon wins a second world championship! Anyways, yeah. So, politics segment time. So, a lot has happened in politics. The things we want to lightning round is Liz Cheney, who is the co-chair of the January 6th committee, has lost her primary bid.
Yeah,
in
most
the Republican
notably,
Party.
most notably before that, she was the third highest sitting member of the House and effectively lost that because she was correct in saying that January 6th was bad.
Yeah, so Liz Cheney's claim to fame was that for a while she was first known as Dick Cheney's daughter, and Dick Cheney is objectively an horrible and abject horror on humanity. Dick Cheney's awful, and so she was known as, oh yeah, she's his daughter, so she's evil. And mind you, she still is evil, but we found out that she's not as evil as her father once was. Because when January 6th happened and Trump's second impeachment came around, she was in support of both of those. Seeing that Trump had crossed a line, January 6th was a complete blight on the United States, and since then has been railing against Trumpism within the Republican Party. Unfortunately, she was the first one to get casted with the dreaded Rhino tag. Rhino meaning Republican in name only, and she was the first one to get ousted from the Republican Cool Kids Club.
Yeah, and she effectively lost her primary bid.
She lost her primary bid after a lot in with the Democrats for the rest of her time. I believe the other person that gets lumped in with her, Adam Kissinger, I don't believe he's currently up for re-election.
Yeah.
But in 2024, he may go the way of Liz Cheney. Because he also is on the January 6th committee, and he also went against Trump during January 6th and the impeachment trial.
Because mind you, like, a solid chunk of the people that voted yes on his impeachment aren't up for re-election.
Yeah. But Liz Cheney, I mean, I will say, respect where respect is due, she did put her political career on the line for it.
Yeah.
Adam Kissinger, by extension, could get away with it, because it could be too far removed.
Yeah.
But yeah, But she's coping nowadays, saying she'll run in 2024.
Which,
if you couldn't win your primary, your Republican primary, you are going to get dumpstered in the 2024 GOP primary. I'm sorry, Liz. That's just not going to happen. Retire with your millions. Don't come back to politics. You try to redeem yourself in the end. Go out with grace.
Yeah, honestly. Which, it does put into a question if with how long the January 6th committee might last, what'll happen when she ultimately gets booted out of the House.
Well, when she gets booted out of the House, they'll probably have a replacement set up for her, because the Democrats most likely will still have the ability to appoint someone to replace her in the committee.
Yeah, which, hopefully if we win, which it's now looking like we might.
Yeah, we might win the midterms.
At the cost of women's rights.
At the cost of women's rights. It's really sad that, which we'll now use this to transition into our second segment, which is about primaries at large, but it is really sad that Roe v. Wade had to be overturned for Americans to get the kick in the ass that they needed to get out there and fight against the Republicans who are trying to literally take away our rights and make our lives objectively worse.
I don't like the trade-off, but we battle each battle individually, and this is the hand that we're dealt, so we're going to use it.
Yeah, there was a recent Fox News poll that came out, was that a lot of Republicans are shifting ideologies to Democrats in a post-Roe landscape. And in fact, one of the highest demographic groups to switch are fathers. Typically a group that Republicans are very strong with. They're seeing the most loss with in a post-Roe landscape, on top of both non-white and white women, both suburban and urban, also leaving in droves from the Republican Party in a post-Roe landscape.
Yep. It turns out that if you're blatantly evil, people don't like you.
Yeah, and in fact, there is a Colorado state senator, so he's within the state house, not the U.S. Congress, but he is a state senator who officially changed his affiliation. He is no longer Republican. He is now a Democrat. He has completely switched party affiliations. He says that in this post-Roe landscape, he and the Republican Party are just of two different values. He cannot stand for it, and he will now be siding with the Democrats.
Mind you, he's not probably going to be like a progressive or anything.
He's not a progressive. But
he's probably going to be a centrist liberal, if anything.
If anything, but remember, centrist liberalism is better than fascism.
Exactly.
So we've had that, and as a whole, with the primaries at large, we're seeing two different groups pulling out ahead. Hardline Trumpers and progressives.
Which, it's cool because, like, progressive ideology is growing a lot, and
Thank you, Bernie Sanders.
Honestly, we're seeing a massive growth now, mostly because we lost women's rights, but still...
Yeah.
Again, we're going to have to deal with the hand that we're dealt, and we're just going to have to push forward.
Yep.
Because, unfortunately, Republican actions have consequences, and we got to fight against it still.
Exactly. But we're seeing a lot of progressives come out and succeed, which is really good. But on the flip side, a lot of extreme Trumpers are also coming out and winning in some areas. For example, Matt Gaetz, noted pedophile, allegedly... Please don't sue. Allegedly a notable pedophile. Won his primary with flying colors.
Yeah.
But we're also seeing some, like we have this Trumper in Florida who lost her congressional primary.
And guess what she said?
But she's not conceding one bit.
She said, "I'm a winner. I don't lose." Literally the exact words. I am not making this up.
Yeah. I need to see who won the Arizona Republican primary, because remember that debate between them? With with the Mamma Mia and the the last time I was on a stage with this many women was a baby shower. Like, I need to see how those clowns did in their primary. They had to have been eating each other alive.
Ugh.
God, I felt so bad for that PBS moderator. That man wanted to end it all. He wanted to end it all. He was so done.
Yeah. Fortunately, the Republicans are eating themselves alive.
Yeah. Turns out in this post-Roe landscape, and especially with the January 6th committee and the Justice Department hammering down on January 6th and its crimes, Republicans are fracturing at the seams, dropping people left, right, and center. I mean, Alex Jones, no one's coming to defend his ass anymore. Trump looking like he may end up going down in spectacular fashion if the rumors are true that he plans on defending himself in court.
Yeah, because...
Good Lord, if he defends himself in court. That will be the content to end all content, the comedy to end all comedy. It will be the magnum opus of America as a country and civilization as a whole.
So that rumor is pretty much founded on the idea that when he put down the team that will be representing him on his file in court, he only put himself.
Yeah, there were some other legal experts on the, other lawyers were put on the file, but when it came to the main part, which was who was representing, his name was the only one there.
Which... if this goes through and he screws up signing up so much that he's the only one left to represent himself...
Good God.
Gather the popcorn, ladies and gentlemen.
This will be amazing. But in terms of other good news coming out of the primaries, we have this... his name is Maxwell Frost. He is a 25-year-old, so he's our first Gen Z candidate who won his Democratic nomination down here in Florida, endorsed by Bernie Sanders himself, gained popularity from shitting on Ron DeSantis to his face. Fuck you, Ron DeSantis. And he's looking like he's going to be a Democratic representative in Congress. The Gen Z progressives are coming.
Yeah, which ultimately this...
Wait a minute. Gen Z? 25? Are we
you didn't know you were a Zoomer?
We're Zoomers?
Yeah.
I thought we were Y. I thought we were Gen Y.
No.
Then what? I'm a Zoomer?
You're a Zoomer.
Oh no.
It doesn't matter. No one actually knows the real numbers. Everyone's super inconsistent.
But
like Republicans will still call Zoomers like, oh, you're an entitled millennial. No one knows. Let's be honest.
God. Yeah, but anyways, Maxwell Frost, our progressive king, doing strong in his primaries. So primaries are looking pretty good.
Yeah, and then ultimately we're keeping an eye on the Florida governorship, which
Charlie Crist won the nomination.
So
not my first choice, but I want him to win regardless.
Yeah, because ultimately he'll be better. Because he was an ex-Republican, right?
Yes, so he used to be the governor of Florida, and he used to be a Republican, then became a Democrat, then became governor of Florida again as a Democrat, and then lost to Rick Scott, and then Rick Scott became senator, so Ron DeSantis took over.
Yeah. So this might actually be close because, I mean, probably a lot of people in Florida are very embarrassed, and we're probably going to see a massive surge of young voters coming in to try to kick him out. Because let's just face it, a lot of people our generation are queer, and he's an active threat to that community. So
yeah, and remember, he burned the bridge with Disney, so don't expect some Disney bucks coming in to support him.
That is true,
He burned the bridge with Disney, and Disney previously were supporting him. Secretly.
You never know with Disney. They could always support him under the table.
I don't think they will, because the way he threatened them was he threatened them monetarily.
Yeah.
He didn't come for them he claims he came for them for being woke, but remember what he was trying to do to them. He was trying to get rid of a lot of their tax-exempt statuses.
That is true.
And trying to force them to pay a lot more money to the government. And let's be honest, you don't fuck with the House of Mouse.
Yeah.
So he burned that bridge with them. So I think this could be really close.
Yeah, let's hope so, because this is our shot. This is the stars have been aligned for us to win this. We have to, because if we can boot DeSantis out of the governorship, he loses a solid chunk of his credibility.
And he will most likely get absolutely ass blasted in the Republican primary, assuming Trump isn't in prison by that point.
Yeah, because imagine, like, oh, you lost to the woke mob. You have no place in our party. Mind you, that's not happening. Republicans are extremely unpredictable in their stupidity, but we will see.
Yes, but assuming Donald Trump isn't in prison come time for the Republican primary in 2024, then yeah, Ron DeSantis will have a very uphill battle to go if he loses to Charlie Crist.
Yeah.
So primaries doing well. Another aspect of American politics that came out recently that's really good was the fact that Biden has passed another student loan forgiveness, something that we had expected a couple months ago when we covered it.
Yeah.
But here it is, his new student loan forgiveness plan.
Which we saw coming. Remember back when he initially extended them from May to September, we were pretty hesitant, or I was pretty hesitant. You were more on the optimistic side. I was more pessimistic. Like, we know what's coming. They're going to renew it again up until the next year as a bid to try to get Democrats to vote. I said that was a fruitless endeavor, but that was before
Roe v. Wade got
That was
overturned.
before Roe v. Wade, and the fact that Republicans are evil is a little bit more blatant nowadays.
Exactly.
So now this might actually work even more, because what Biden listed is that it'll be $10,000 for most recipients,
who make it's 10,000 for most recipients that currently make less than $125,000 a year.
And then there's also 20,000 for recipients of the Pell Grant, which is a grant given after you complete your financial aid if you are in financially distressing situations, which I'm sure will help out a ton of people. But here is my fear, and I'm being very pessimistic when I say this, is that this is going to be a tool used to sweep the midterms, and then right when January hits, they will forget about it.
I am afraid of that as well. However, I do kind of see that if that doesn't happen, Biden will just kick the moratorium can down the road, which, not a fix, would still be better than all of us having to deal with debt.
Yeah.
But I will say, credit where credit is due. The moratoriums have been life-saving for millions of individuals.
I mean, yeah.
So I can't complain too much about it.
I mean, it's allowed me to save for a house, goddammit.
It's allowed me to not get fucking morbed.
I mean, I'm not in a bad situation. I just can't move out.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's really good. And so if there was ever a reason I needed to vote for Biden,
this is it.
This was it. So, but I would recommend that if you need a reason to vote for Biden, and if you have student loans, this is your reason you should vote for Biden, because this would not have come under Trump.
And no, this is not my reason. My reason is Roe v. Wade. I'm going to be blatantly honest.
Okay, my reason was the rising tide of fascism, let's be honest here.
That's even worse. I'm sorry. But
if
Roe v. Wade takes more precedence than my loans, I'm going to be honest.
Oh, no, Roe v. Wade definitely takes it. Listen, the rising tide of fascism took more precedent than my loans. But if you wanted to be a selfish person, which, let's be honest here,
we
it's
all
a little
are.
bit fine to be selfish in this day
Let's
and age.
Let's face it, we're all human. We all are.
And the world is a very shitty place. So if you need a selfish reason, this is your selfish reason, and I say go for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So there was that. One other thing I wanted to bring up really quickly was... since we didn't get to talk about this, but in the wake of the Mar-a-Lago raid, several Trumpers got ass mad. One got so ass mad that he decided that he was going to attack the FBI field office in Cincinnati, Ohio, planned said raid on Truth Social, Trump's social media app, and then showed up with an AK-47 and a nail gun, tried to shoot out the windows with said nail gun, failed miserably, got caught in a police chase, was shot, then died in a cornfield, then was subsequently called a Fed by every Republican.
It's always, every time, they always call them a Fed.
I am just sitting here thinking, wow, imagine getting turned into Swiss cheese for the guy that had a cameo in Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. Like, imagine getting murdered in a cornfield by the FBI and called a Fed for the guy who used to host Celebrity Apprentice.
You are having too much fun pissing on this man's grave. And
yes, I am.
I'm here for it.
I am having a glorious time pissing on this dumbass's grave.
This is the only time you've made a comment like that and not be cringe this entire episode.
It is true. Honestly, just imagine that your life is so fucking worthless that you thought that shooting a nail gun at bulletproof glass would fucking work like you're in the fucking Bourne movies.
Oh yeah, he brought it specifically because he thought it would penetrate bulletproof glass better than bullets.
This also shows something that we haven't brought up on the podcast, but it is something that has been stated a lot. Republicans narrativize politics like it's a fucking action movie. From their conspiracies to their policy prescriptions to the way they view the world, it's almost like an action movie in every sense of the word. And, well, even their domestic terrorist actions are action movie-esque. Yeah, I'm going to use the nail gun, and that's going to break the bulletproof glass. No, it didn't. It did not. It failed miserably. He got ran into a cornfield where he died and got called a Fed and denounced by all Republicans who think he's literally just Antifa. Imagine being the strongest Trump warrior and being called Antifa for it.
I mean, literally remember the QAnon shaman had to go on social media and announce to the public, guys, I'm not Antifa. Stop calling me Antifa.
And so that was the story of poor old Ricky, some dumbass in Ohio. Also, he was at January 6th, so he was also a domestic terrorist before this domestic terrorism. Dual offender. So, anyways, let's get to our final segment, right as we're going to the 3-hour mark. So we're moving to a bit of international news.
Yeah.
We are going to be talking about the attempt and successful assassination of Alexander Dugin and his daughter, Daria Dugina.
Well, semi-successful. It was still a successful...
The successful assassination attempt of Daria Dugina and the attempted assassination of Alexander Dugin.
Yeah, because it was mostly meant for him.
Yes, but getting her was probably also a part of their operation.
Yeah.
And so, basically, if you don't know who these two are, Alexander Dugin, for those unaware, he is the brains of Putin's whole denazification of Ukraine. He is a notable fascist philosopher, if one can call them that, who believes in something known as pan-Eurasianism, where he believes that Germany and Russia should make an Axis powers. Yes, those two countries making an Axis power. Does that sound like the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact? Yes, it does. And so he believes that Germany should take over all of Western Europe, except for the UK. The UK should be booted out of Europe because it's nothing but an American satellite state. And that Russia should take over the rest of Eastern Europe, except for Estonia. Estonia will go to the Germans. And so he believes in this because he believes that the rest of those countries deserve to be ruled over because, and I quote, they produce no cultural value. Very fascist, I'm telling you, people. He's an extremely fascist man. And so he is the architect in Putin going after Ukraine, starting with the Crimean annexation, and now the current annexation of the Donbass region, the Donetsk and Luhansk regions, and the overall shelling of Kyiv and trying to take over the country at large, because he particularly hates Ukrainians and believes that Ukrainians are nothing but a blight on Russian nationalism.
Yeah, so...
He's a very evil man.
So let's get into it, because has it been verified, like, who it was from? Because
it was done by a Russian group known as the National Republican Army.
Yeah.
Very similar to the Irish Republican Army in terms of tactics as well as political ideology. If you don't know about the IRA is a terrorist group / political freedom fighting group, depending on who you believe, who is hell-bent on liberating Ireland from basically UK, really, the English crown rule. After England colonized Ireland and then annexed the Northern Ireland and fucked over the Republic of Ireland, and still kind of does try to fuck over the Republic of Ireland. So the IRA has gone through many iterations, and so this NRA, not the National Rifle Association, but the National Republican Army, seems to be the Russian equivalent, believing that Putin is a blight on Russia and is bringing it to ruin, and thus the Putin administration must be destroyed.
Yeah. Which pretty much is, like, just domestic terrorism towards the state, which, I mean... Let's face it, because Russia has been having a lot of...
economic.
Well, not their economic, I wasn't going to mention that. The fact that there have been massive protests as to their actions in Ukraine.
Exactly.
Like, there's been a lot of public backlash to the point where Russia actually had to go in and snub all those protests down.
Exactly. So the biggest thing is that in Russia, the invasion of Ukraine is massively unpopular for many reasons. For one, many Russians consider Ukrainians to be their Slavic brethren. I mean, they border each other. There's a lot of shared culture in a lot of aspects, especially in areas of Russia and Ukraine that border each other. There's a lot of crossover. I mean, Russian, I believe, is the second most spoken language in Ukraine.
Yeah.
There are many people in Russia that have family in Ukraine and vice versa. The invasion has been monstrously unpopular in Russia. But, you know, authoritarians have been authoritarian. They stamped out a lot of these protests very violently. Many people disappeared. Many people have been killed. But that doesn't mean that people are still taking this lying down. Due to the sanctions that the rest of the world has imposed onto Russia, the Russian people are suffering economically. And mind you, they don't deserve this suffering. It is not their fault. But the material conditions caused by these sanctions have made living in Russia hellish. For example, McDonald's pulled out of Russia. All the franchises had to be picked up by third parties, and the third party ran out of potatoes, meaning that the burgers and fries that they advertise are now just burgers because they don't have fries anymore, because potato imports have been completely destroyed thanks to the sanctions. That is just one example of the hellish situation that the average Russian citizen has gone through. And unsurprisingly, when you have shitty material conditions, it leads to radicalization. And so now we have this domestic terrorist group cropping up that wants to destroy the Putin administration because they feel that his administration, and mind you, this is a right assumption, has thoroughly fucked the regular Russian populace.
Yeah.
So they attacked Dugin because he is the brains of this operation and one of the people that was definitely harping on the fact that Ukraine should be invaded. But unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you are, Dugin lived. But his daughter, Daria Dugina, who is just as much of a fascist as she is a well-known journalist within Russia. She is a very popular propagandist. She's very popular, really well-funded, and was specifically targeted by the U.S. government for sanctions due to her high level within Russian government. So she was murdered in the car bomb. And Alexander Dugin, heart not totally made of ice, is in grieving. He looked like he nearly had a heart attack at the scene, probably from a combination of, that was a car bomb, I nearly died, my daughter is dead. So he's currently, to my knowledge, still in the hospital for his chest. So he may die. But I will say, all evidence shows that when it happened, it broke him. So, I mean, as much as he's a fascist evil monster, he's still a human being, and so he is in mourning currently. His daughter did die right in front of his eyes, and probably one of the most painful deaths one can, burning to death.
Yeah.
So, it is, I don't want to say it's sad, because I am not sad, because the Dugins are a family of fascists that have contributed to the mass pain that is caused to Ukrainians and Russians. So I cannot say that I am sad, but I do understand that the Dugins are in grieving because terrorism is still terrorism. It still causes trauma.
Yeah.
But I don't feel bad for him. But there's a lot of conspiracy going around. The Russians are pointing fingers at Ukrainians. Ukrainians are saying it's not us. The Russians say that the Ukrainians are funding the National Republican Army. Ukrainians say, no, we're not. Will we know? Probably not. Is it possible? Oh, most definitely. Remember, Ukraine may be the victim in all of this, but Ukraine is still a nation state at the end of the day, and nation states are violent by their definition. So, could Ukraine be funding terrorists in Russia to attack the Putin administration? Yes, it's entirely possible. So, that is one aspect. Some conspiracies are saying that the oligarchs that have been targeted by the sanctions want to destroy the Putin regime because it's cutting into their bottom line too much, but they know that Putin will not pull out of the war. So some people are believing that the National Republican Army are funded by Russian oligarchs in rebellion to Putin. We probably will not know any of this information for decades, most likely. But as it stands right now, the political situation in Russia has become that much more unstable. Who knows how many other assassination attempts will be made against high-level Russian officers. Who knows? Will Putin be a target? I most assuredly believe that there are many people, many factions, and many countries that want to assassinate him. But who knows if he will ever be targeted outright? Who knows however many other people will be targeted, whether they are philosophers, journalists, politicians, or military. Who knows? We know that the military upper brass within Russia has taken several casualties as majors and generals have been killed left and right and center in the war in Ukraine. So as it stands right now, the war in Ukraine has led to what is very much a very precarious situation for Russia. If things go in the worst possible scenario, Russia, as it stands right now, could collapse due to the economic pressure and political instability from these assassinations.
Imagine them collapsing again for the second time in the past 50 years. Imagine that.
Yeah, but it's really sad because they were set up for failure. Like, it is objectively true that the shock therapy, the economic shock therapy that was done was horrible. It was terrible. Economic shock therapy is evil, in my opinion. And what they did, what was his name? It wasn't Gorbachev. It was, starts with a B.
I don't think I got it on the top of my head.
Whatever his name was. The one that did the Papa John's commercial.
That was not Gorbachev?
I don't think it was Gorbachev.
I thought it was him.
Either way, the one that was in charge of Russia for economic shock therapy thoroughly fucked the country. Went in the complete opposite direction of anti-capitalism into anti-communism, and thoroughly fucked the country and set it up to be in its current state. So it would be really sad if the country fell apart.
Yeah.
And I do mean that, because the Russian people at the end of the day... Oh, it was Gorbachev. Holy fuck. It was Gorbachev.
I knew it.
But yeah, no, Gorbachev fucked Russia with its economic shock therapy and is kowtowing to Western capitalist demands.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, the true victims are the Russian people. They did not sign up for this war. They are not complicit in this war, as there's a lot of people against it. And at the end of the day, they will be the ones that suffer the most when the political instability of the Putin regime comes crumbling down.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yep, that's pretty much everything we have to say about that.
Yeah, not going to lose any sleep because Dugin and Dugina are both fascist and evil people. So, yeah.
Yep.
And with that...
We're finally done. We gotta make these shorter.
It's Dragon Ball... Listen, we love Dragon Ball, so Dragon Ball was always going to be a huge tangent.
I mean, legitimately, I have one of the biggest problems that I had with any Dragon Ball movie, and I still love it to death.
Exactly.
So I still had a lot of positive things to say, even though there's one thing that drags the experience down for me.
Yeah, we love Dragon Ball, so that really took up a lot of this episode. But it was a good time.
I mean, we finally got a good chapter, and, we've been waiting for this movie for God knows how long.
Yes, Sovereign has been pretending that he wasn't spoiled from when the movie first was released in Japan.
But it turns out I actually wasn't, because one Cell Max was revealed super early in the movie, and I thought I saw a Perfect Cell render from, just scrolling online, and it turns out that Perfect Cell didn't make an appearance, and honestly, that made that so much better for me, so I wasn't spoiled.
The main surprises for me were mainly the dialogue, as the only thing I knew was the bare-bones plot details. I knew Pan was kidnapped. I knew Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 weren't evil. I knew Cell Max would be a thing. I knew of Orange Piccolo. I knew of the Ass Wish. I knew of Gohan Beast. But I didn't know about all of the dialogue, such as how close Piccolo and Pan are, the gaslighting, the moral dilemmas of them all, which I thought was really good. And of course, I had no clue of Dragon Ball QAnon, but that is now my favorite thing.
I don't know how you experience Dragon Ball like that. I don't know why you do that. I love not getting spoiled.
Well, I don't know. My thing is I've embraced Japanese spoiler culture in a lot of ways, where I've come to realize that knowing how something goes doesn't matter until you see how it's executed. After being a fan of Naruto and One Piece and seeing their spoilers week to week for the chapters, but then reading the chapters and the chapter being basically an entirely different context from what you've read in the spoilers, I've come to understand that Japanese media is meant to be consumed by experiencing it, and hearing of it secondhand will never do it justice.
Yeah.
But I have a different opinion when it comes to Western media, because Western spoiler culture is different. In a lot of ways, Western media, if you hear it, you almost have experienced it. It's a very weird distinction between the two that I can't really describe.
Yeah. That's actually a good point, because like a lot of criticism of Western media is that trailers spoil a lot of the movie, whereas with Dragon Ball Super or Superhero, the trailers really didn't spoil much.
Yeah, it didn't. Like, everyone's like, oh, Piccolo got a new form, which was his unlocked potential form, but no one knew about Orange Piccolo or Cell Max or Gohan Beast until the movie came out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I see what you mean there.
Yeah, with, like, Western media, like, if I want to, like, truly avoid spoilers, like, I will have to avoid, like, looking at them to truly watch the movie. But when it comes to Eastern, not really Eastern, I would say more Japanese-based media, I can look at spoilers and know that I haven't experienced it yet, so it could be entirely different.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much everything that we have to say for today, mostly because I want to go to sleep.
Yep, been long, but it was a good episode. Thank you to our newest viewer and chatter, Mac the Bat. Hope you come back next week, and we'll see you in chat. And, yeah.
Yep, that's pretty much all we have to say. I'm Sovereign.
And I'm Shiny.
And we're signing off for the night.
See you next week, where we'll have our review of She-Hulk Episode 2.
Good night.
Good night. Also, one last thing. Werewolf by Night will be coming out October 31st, 2022. I promise.